CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the Green Bay Packers against the Atlanta Falcons.
Greetings to all of you watching in around the NFL today from all of us at CBS Sports. The Packers and the Falcons from Fulton County Stadium here in Atlanta. There are your standings in the NFC. The Redskins, along with the Cowboys and the Falcons, have clinched a playoff spot. The Packers, along with the Vikings and the Cardinals, are trying to. The top 8 teams in the NFC qualify for the playoffs, as well as the top 8 teams in the AFC. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Kelly, former New York Jet John Dockery's alongside. We've got a dandy for you today. The Packers and the Falcons. Of course, Atlanta has already qualified for the playoffs, and they have done so, John, with a swarming type of defense. A new look on offense, though, one that features ball control.
Ball control offense, and the reason Atlanta is able to do that is they have a whole smorgasbord of running backs. William Andrews, probably the best pure fullback in the NFL. Gerald Riggs, the #1 draft choice out of Arizona State. Lynn Kane, Bo Robinson, a whole bunch. But they also have an excellent offensive line.
Glad you mentioned the offensive line, because the Packers, to a man, especially their coach Bart Starr, saying the offensive line holds the key. If quarterback Lynn Dickey has time to throw, he's got the wide receivers to have a wide-open football game.
Of course, you speak of Jefferson and Lofton, two of the most dangerous wide receivers in the game. They also have good talent at running back, Ivory and Ellis.
And the coaches, Bart Starr and Lehman Bennett, concerned about our old friend momentum. The Falcons, of course, have won 3 games in a row, clinched a playoff spot. Lehman Bennett concerned about a possible letdown.
Good old Mo. Certainly Lehman Bennett's Falcons have it, but the question is, can they keep it? Bart Starr's Packers haven't had momentum. They haven't had the intensity, especially last week when they tied a very mediocre Baltimore Colts team. We'll know early in this game which team has the intensity to win this afternoon. Jim, it looks like they're just about ready.
Green Bay Packers have won the toss. They've elected to receive. The Atlanta Falcons will kick it off. Back deep for the Green Bay Packers. Johnny Gray, number 24, and this football game is underway. This is Del Rogers, 35 at the goal line to the 5. Little stutter step to the 15, to the 20, breaks into the 25, to the 30, to the 35, the 40, 45, 50, into Falcon territory, all the way down, and finally wrestled out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Earl Jones, number 20, with a touchdown-saving tackle. And the Atlanta Falcons find themselves in a hole very early. The Green Bay Packers busted from the opening kickoff.
Everybody on the Green Bay Packers said today they'd have to come out with intensity and take it away from the Atlanta Falcons. Here, Del Rogers does exactly that. He gets some good blocking up front, but makes that cut. All the good return men have it, and the burst of speed takes him up the sidelines. The number 3 draft choice out of Utah, a rookie, puts the Packers in great field position.
Looks to be about a 76-yard kickoff return. The Green Bay Packers' longest kickoff return of the season. Lynn Dickey, the quarterback, number 12, brings them out. 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. That's Huffman in motion, inside handoff. Right up the middle, simply power football as he gets it down in the vicinity of the 22-yard line. Take a look now at the Green Bay Packers. Lynn Dickey, of course, the quarterback. Eddie Lee Ivory, Gary Ellis, their fullback, and the running backs, and the wide receivers we have talked about, Lofton and John Jefferson. There's the offensive line, Green Bay Packers, and the veteran center, Larry McCarron. Running backs are Eddie Lee Ivory, number 40, along with Gary Ellis, number 31. Wide receivers, that's Lofton, wide to the right side. John Jefferson, number 83, out to the left side. Jim Jensen, the 6-year running back out of Iowa, is in there now, number 33, in place of Gary Ellis. Eddie Lee Ivory, first down for the Green Bay Packers. Brought down by Joe L. Williams, a 4-year linebacker out of Wisconsin La Crosse.
Eddie Lee Ivory is one of those running backs that breaks tackles. The Falcon defensive players told me he's a first miss guy 80% of the time, which simply means that one man is not going to bring him down. 4 out of 5 runs. Watch him here. Keeps his balance, bounces off people, and gets a first down.
So it's 1st and goal for the Green Bay Packers, spotted just outside the 6-yard line. Gary Lewis, number 81, checks out. Eddie Lee Ivory checks out. Gary Ellis is back in. So the running backs now are Ellis and Jensen. Dickey sets the Packers down. Inside handoff to Gary Ellis, the 3rd-year running back out of Missouri. And he bulls his way inside the 5-yard line down to the 4. Let's take a look now at the Atlanta Falcons on defense. Don Smith, of course, the outstanding nose guard. And then the linebacking core of the Falcons. They're a swarming bunch. They're a good one. They make you pay for your hit. Buddy Curry, and of course in the secondary, Glazebrook. We expect a lot of blitzing from Johnson and Glazebrook today. It'll be second down for the Atlanta Falcons, or for the Green Bay Packers. It's 12:40 and counting. After a 76-yard kickoff return, the Packers knocking at the Atlanta door. And some confusion. Lynn Dickey gets up to the line of scrimmage, John, and sees something that he doesn't like.
And he wastes the timeout. I mean, Rodgers put him in great position early. That momentum, you don't want to lose it.
So when we come back, the Packers will have it second down and goal. Atlanta in the shadow of their own. The Green Bay Packers, there you can see they have scored 12 points so far this year in the first quarter. Knocking right now at the Atlanta Falcon door. Spotted down at the 4-yard line. It'll be second down. 4 yards to go. They line up in slot formation to the left side. That's Lofton outside, Jefferson inside. Running backs are split for Lynn Dickey. The Green Bay Packers 4-2-1, trying to clinch a playoff spot. The Atlanta Falcons 5-2 are in. Dickey's first pass over the middle, incomplete and intercepted by the Atlanta Falcons. That's Glazebrook in his 5th year out of Fresno State. The ball deflected off the hands of Paul Kaufman, and the Packers come away empty.
What a big break, and we talked about momentum early. The Packers had it. Joe Rodgers runs the kickoff back 76 yards. They're knocking at the door. Here, he tries to go to his good tight end, Kaufman. That's Jefferson and Lofton on the outside, but he goes inside, tries to get it to him. The ball bounces around. A swarming defense. Glazebrook comes up with the interception.
So the Atlanta Falcons, that defense, which was so effective against the San Francisco 49ers, allowing only 7 points and shut out the Saints before, shut out the Packers here early. John, watch Lynn Dickey right now. Hoffman is open over the middle. A good hit put on by the secondary right there, and the ball bounces into Glazebrook's arms, and that's his first interception of the year, so the Pack comes away empty. For the Atlanta Falcons, Steve Bartkowski at quarterback, of course, number 31. William Andrews, the leading ground gainer, the leading pass receiver. 4th year out of Auburn, a 3rd-round draft pick back in '79. Teamed up for this quarter with Lynn Kane, number 21, former Trojan out of USC. 1st and 10 for the Atlanta Falcons at their own 13. Handoff goes to Andrews, bounces off one tackle, and manages to get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a pickup of 1 before Mike Douglas, number 53, the 5-year right side linebacker out of San Diego State, came up and made the tackle secure. Offensively for the Atlanta Falcons, Bartkowski, of course, the quarterback. Kane and Andrews start as the 1-2 tandem. Jackson and Jenkins, 2 outstanding wide receivers, 85 and 84 for Bartkowski to throw to. Jeff Van Oat, veteran center, number 57, and the veteran line, and Junior Miller, the big bruising tight end. Second down and 9 from the 14-yard line. Wide receivers in a slot formation to the right side now. Andrews and Kane, Bartkowski to put it up. Left side, incomplete. Good coverage that time of the Packers secondary. And speaking of the Green Bay defense, let's take a look.
Defensively, Green Bay has been solid all year long. They've kept the Packers in a lot of the games. Ezra Johnson, the man with the potential to rush the passer, they're going to have to get some of that. Anderson, Scott Cumbie, and Douglas Wingo, conspicuous by his absence. He's hurt, replaced by Scott at the linebacker. Defensive backs, a good group. Johnny Gray, the captain, back there.
Floyd Hodge, the first-year wide receiver, number 83, a free agent out of Utah, is in, along with Alfred Jackson, 85. They line up in a slot formation to the right side. Junior Miller, the tight end, is out, so they go with 3 wideouts. Bartkowski needs 9 on 3rd down. Packers coming. Nickel defense, and he is sacked behind the line of scrimmage, and a fine defensive play by Terry Jones, the 5th-year nose tackle out of Alabama.
This is an in-tackle game, Jim, where Johnson and Terry Jones cross over. Bartkowski looked like he had time to throw. He sets up. You see Andrews coming out of the backfield, but he waits and waits. And if you wait that long, Jones, the nose guard, is going to get you, the 50-year man out of Alabama. Big sack.
Now for the Atlanta Falcons, back to punt. George Roberts. We'll talk a little bit about that, but this is one of the things Lehman Bennett was not happy with, the kicking game. Snap is a little high. Gets it away, and the Packers should have very good field position. Inside the 40 and driven backwards. It'll be 1st and 10 Green Bay at the 38-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Del Rogers, who had that opening kickoff, made the reception for the Green Bay Packers. Bart Starr concerned, of course, his Packers are 4-2-1 coming in. They don't want a must-win situation in the season closing game each week. Gary Anderson, a 21-yard field goal for the Steelers. Chuck Noll's Pittsburgh team 4-3. Lonnie Myers, first-year coach of the New England Patriots, also 4-3 as they're battling for a playoff spot in the AFC. 8:44 left to go in quarter number one. Steelers 3, Patriots nothing. We've got a scoreless tie here in Atlanta Stadium. The Packers and the Falcons from the 38-yard line. Running backs now shift into the I. Gary Ellis works in there along with Eddie Lee Ivory. Lynn Dickey, they air it out on first down. Incomplete, broken up in the end zone, intended for James Lofton. He is screaming at the officials, claiming pass interference. Bobby Butler is back there from Florida State on the coverage.
That's a question of Lynn Dickey pumping, trying to get the defensive backs to bite, and relying on James Lofton's leaping ability. You've heard about him as being a great athlete. He's got good size at 6'3". Butler goes up and makes a good play.
Lofton, as you can see right there, waiting for a flag. It wasn't to come. So from the 38, it's second down and 10. Lofton wide to the right side. John Jefferson flanked out to the left side. Backs are Eddie Lee Ivory along with Jim Jensen, 33 in there now. The 6-year free agent out of Iowa, Becky. Falcons are coming out of the backfield. Eddie Lee Ivory close to first down yardage as he fights his way across the 30-yard line. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. All the way over from his nose tackle position, Don Smith, the 4-year veteran out of Miami of Florida, as you take another look.
One of the ideas that the Packers have is to get Eddie Lee Ivory and Gary Ellis out on their own so they can use that great talent. Here, quick screen pass outside. He's got some blocking in front, cuts back. It's a good block there, makes some yardage on his own.
That's the referee, Bob McElwee, from Haddonfield, New Jersey. And they pick up the first down, the Packers do. So it'll be first and 10 from the 28-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Gary Ellis, 31, is back in. Jim Jensen is out, so Ivory and Ellis will be the running backs. You can see what the Atlanta Falcons have done defensively. They certainly didn't have to be out there very much because of that ball control offense. Over 40 minutes against the New Orleans Saints. On first down, a little bit high out in the right flat as James Lofton was decked hard by number 56 for the Atlanta Falcons. Also over there was Bobby Butler.
Interesting attempt by the Green Bay Packers to isolate that great wide receiver James Lofton on Bobby Butler. They play-actioned away. They came to Lofton, but it was just good coverage on the out.
Al Richardson, the veteran linebacker out of Georgia Tech, also over there in the coverage. Kansas City has scored a 40-yard field goal by Nick Lowry. The Chiefs are 2-5, as are the 49ers, who lost a week ago to these Atlanta Falcons 17-7. Jefferson to the right side, Lofton to the left side. Second and 10 from the 28. The backs are split. Dickey sets the club down. Falcons shift around on defense and are coming. And Dickey is sacked. A late hit by number 54, Fulton Kuykendall out of UCLA. Joel Williams, the man that put the pressure on, and that's the story of the game a week ago against the 49ers. And this is what concerned Bart Starr as we talked with him yesterday.
Good pressure by the Falcons. They're coming with the blitz. Watch the right-hand side of your screen. You'll see Joel Williams, like Lawrence Taylor, fighting off the block and making the tackle for the sack. He has that kind of ability when he's right. Of course, Joel Williams had knee problems last year, but they figure he's just about back, number 58 for the Falcons.
From the 37-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Now it's third down and 19 yards to go. Lofton to the left side, Jefferson to the right side. And some motion on the play. So let's check the call right here. Johnny?
It's funny that Dickey should do that because before the game I talked with him and he said last week the Atlanta defense had Montana so confused that he pulled away from the center one time. He says that's what they tend to do to you. They're so aggressive. Let's listen to the call.
Ball start on the left guard. Third down.
What's happening very early to the Green Bay Packers? They had an excellent field position, got it all the way down inside the 10, failed to score. The interception started it. Now a couple of errant passes, a quarterback sack, some motion. So it looks like that old friend momentum shifting once again.
They've been inconsistent offensively. 30 sacks they've given up. You just saw one a few minutes ago. Now it's 31 sacks with Joel Williams' sack of Dixon.
Wide receivers are left and right. Lofton and Jefferson. The backs are split. It is third down now and 43. They'll set up a little screen pass over to Gary Ellis, but he will be stopped way shy. And you can see the swarming defense of the Atlanta Falcons as the intensity is picking up early in this football game.
It's interesting. One of the ways that the Falcons grade their defense is the number of red shirts in the frame on the films on Monday. If they have 11 there, they figure it's a good play. They get to the ball and they hit and they're aggressive.
You see number 37, Kenny Johnson, the third-year defensive back out of Mississippi State. Don Smith, the nose tackle, was over in the vicinity as well. So the Packers will punt it again, but before they do, let's take another look.
Just count the number of red shirts in the frame. Now, there's no one there. Okay, he makes a good move now. Look at that. About 5 or 6 red shirts to the ball. That's good pursuit.
Stackowitz back to punt for the Green Bay Packers, and Billy White Shoes Johnson standing at about his own 10-yard line. Stackowitz will punt it near the coffin corner, and that gives White Shoes Johnson a chance to break it. He angles it for the near sideline. He got it near the vicinity of the 15-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Atlanta Falcons. So twice the Packers have been knocking at the door. Twice the Falcons' defense is must be at the controls. 1st and 10 for the Falcons from the 15-yard line of Atlanta. Atlanta, of course, making up a 17-point deficit the last time that these two teams hooked up. That's Lynn Kane. Check it, William Andrews on a counter play. And he gets across the 15 to the 17. Now for an update on that Detroit Lions game, let's go to the NFL Today and our colleague Brent Musburger. We apologize. We will try to get that update for you. We've got 8:25 left to go in this first quarter. Kowski got his man wide open over the middle. First down for the Atlanta Falcons. Alfred Jenkins in his 8th year out of Morris Brown, a free agent. 5'9", 155, and you see that blazing speed.
And you also see a wide open zone down there. The reason that play worked is the linebackers, especially Mike Douglas, number 53, did not get depth. That allowed Jenkins to cut up in the middle. The safeties were very deep. He was wide open in a big space between those linebackers and the secondary.
Alfred Jenkins, number 84, the longest current receiving streak in the National Football League. At his 97th game in which he has caught a pass. He was tied with Lance Allworth for the 4th longest streak in the NFL. And he is the 3rd leading receiver in the Atlanta Falcons so far this year. William Andrews, of course, is the top receiver. Bartkowski on first down. Got his man looping out of the backfield. William Andrews again. And George Cumby, number 52, in there in the hit for Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers in trouble in the offensive line. The veteran center and tackle Carl Swanke, in his 3rd year out of Boston College, is out with a knee injury. He will not be back.
That's really a problem. They don't need Jim. They've had problems with their offensive line all year long. They've been inconsistent. Dickey's been getting sacked. Swanke will hurt.
From the 48-yard line of the Green Bay Packers, Jeff Van Oat out over the ball at center. Stacey Bailey now in there at one wide receiver. Alfred Jenkins is out. So it's Jackson and Stacey Bailey as they're split left and right. Lynn Kane gets the call, looping around the left side. Bucks his way across the 45, near the 44-yard line. Lynn Kane with 1 touchdown on the ground, won by the pass in his 4th year out of USC. Finally brought down by Maurice Harvey in his 4th year out of Ball State.
Lynn Kane, just one of the many running backs that we mentioned in the top of the show. William Andrews, Lynn Kane, Cheryl Riggs, we haven't seen yet. Good number 1 draft choices. And you look at Alfred Jenkins, 4th in pass catches with 97. Most consecutive games, 97th game catching a pass. That's the longest active streak, Jim.
Slot formation to the right side on 1st and 10 for the Falcons at the 43 of the Green Bay Packers. Lone setback. William Andrews gets it on the draw play and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. Finally chopped down by Mike Douglas in his 5th year out of San Diego State and by Mike Butler in his 6th year out of Kansas. You know, you look at that reception streak. Mel Gray's longest reception streak came to an end when they played the Philadelphia Eagles. Ironically, of course, Harold Carmichael kept his streak alive. 5:55 and counting left to go in a scoreless first quarter. Packers knocked on the door twice, came away empty. Now the Falcons with a sustained drive have it 2nd down and 11 yards to go. Jackson to the left side, Junior Miller the tight end to the right side. Bartkowski to put it up. Got William Andrews, and William Andrews is just shy of 1st down yardage, and there's a flag on the play. George Cumby, number 52, to make the tackle secure. but it appears to be a late hit against the Green Bay Packers. Bob McElwee, the official, discussing it with his crew. Looked like it might have been Maurice Harvey. And instead, it goes against the Atlanta Falcons.
And you can see that Bartkowski is mixing it up. He's throwing the ball downfield. He hit Jenkins before for a first down. This time he comes to Andrews out of the backfield. But for the
illegal use of the hands, number 84 on the offense.
That's the 8-year wide receiver out of Morris Brown, Alfred Jenkins. So it backs the Atlanta Falcons up all the way back at the 44-yard line of Green Bay. It brings up second down and 11 and negates a good play on the screen pass to William Andrews. You can see what Atlanta's done in the penalty department. Jackson to the right side, Jenkins to the left side, with Floyd Hodge, number 83, in the slot formation. William Andrews, the lone setback for Bartkowski. Packers faking the blitz. Now they drop back. Double coverage to wideouts. Got the man just into the lineup, Floyd Hodge out of Utah. And he gets it back near the 39-yard line. Still shy of first down yardage. Mike Douglas in the tackle along with Johnny Gray. Now to New York, and here's Brent Musburger.
Jim, with the technical gremlins out of the way, we wanted the good folks in Atlanta and Green Bay to see this piece of video. Gary Danielson of the Lions to Leonard Thompson. Touchdown, Detroit. The Buccaneers secondary slipped on that one. So it's 7-0 now. Let's go back to Jim in Atlanta.
Thank you, Brent. We are scoreless here. Of course, that update, Detroit 7, Tampa Bay nothing early in that first quarter. And right now, Steve Bartkowski looking at third down and 3 yards to go. The hands of the intended receiver, the big tight end, Junior Miller. He would have had the first down. Fine defensive play by John Anderson, the 5-year veteran linebacker out of Michigan. But we've got a flag back in the backfield of the Atlanta Falcons.
Jim, anytime a quarterback holds the ball that long, you know his offensive line is going to have a problem. Often it results in holding penalties.
Offense, penalties decline, fourth down.
Yeah, you take a look at that Tampa Bay score and the fact they have fallen behind to the Lions. Tampa Bay is still very much alive for a playoff berth. And, of course, the Lions, well, they're a struggling football team. George Roberts is back deep for the Atlanta Falcons. Philip Epps, number 85, is back deep to receive for the Green Bay Packers, who have, this is rather unusual, the Packers using 3 men back deep on the punt team. You can see the stats on George Roberts, but Lehman Bennett, as we have told you, not very satisfied with the punting game of the Atlanta Falcons. They're the 3 men back deep. You don't see that nowadays.
Well, he might be angling for the sideline. They want somebody in position to catch the ball if they have a chance.
Hits on the 3 and sails on into the end zone, so the Packers get a break there and will start 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. So it is a scoreless first quarter to this point. The Packers
are still trying to figure out what the Falcon defense did to him last week when the Falcons beat him 17-7.
Slot formation to the left side. Lofton outside and John Jefferson inside. Running back Gary Ellis, number 31. Dickey sets him down. It's Eddie Liabri, number 40, on a scamper around the right side. Picks up maybe 2 yards. Chopped down there before he was really able to effectively turn the corner, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Don't forget, coming up immediately following this game, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are already in. Eagles in a very unusual position of trying to play the spoiler. Redskins are in. The New Orleans Saints will be at home. Of course, they've got quarterback problems. And the Chicago Bears and the Los Angeles Rams, the Rams have got problems, period.
Of course, when you look at Dallas and Washington, they're 2 best teams in the NFC by record, at least, and probably the 2 best in actual fact.
Del Rogers, 35. Gary Ellis, 31, the running backs for the Packers. That's John Jefferson in motion to the bottom of your screen. Dickey will throw for it. He needs 8. Shy of first down yardage, in and out of the hands of John Jefferson. Came over, of course, to the Packers in the trade with the San Diego Chargers back in '81. 23 catches this year, John, 422 yards, but no touchdowns for J.J.
It's really odd to see John Jefferson catch the ball. That's a drop of ball, as he did just then. That ball was catchable. As you look at Pittsburgh finally scoring some points, they're up 10-zip versus New England.
Frank Pollard on a 10-yard run, 1:52 left to go in the first quarter, and the Steelers on top over the Patriots by a score of 10-0. The book on Lynn Dickey so far this afternoon, he'll have to throw for a first down now. They're looking at 3rd down and 8 from the 21-yard line. And as soon as we say that, they go with a draw play, and they've got the first down, busting it over the middle. Gary Ellis Ellis, the free agent out of Missouri, he got the last 4 yards all on his own, simply power running straight ahead. Al Richardson made the tackle secure.
And there's a term they use in the NFL about a back finishing his run. Walter Payton does it. Wilbert Montgomery does it. So does Gary Ellis. Watch at the end of his run. It's pure effort. He runs right through to get the first down with that final surge. Look at that. Tough running by Ellis.
Pridemore tried to bring him down up top. You can't do that. You can't make a chest type of tackle. You know that. You played defensive back.
Exactly right. A guy like, he's not an overpowering, as you look along the sidelines at Bob Schnelker, he certainly made a difference in opening up the offense here, the Green Bay offense. But a guy like Ellis, though he's only 216, you still can't do it. He's got great balance and strength.
Yet in talking to the Green Bay wide receivers, John Jefferson, James Lofton, they would like the offense to be opened up even a little bit more. They'd like to see the Packers throw more on first down. The Falcons thought that first down was the key to controlling the Green Bay offense, as you talked to the defensive coaches at practice yesterday. Wide receivers to the right side now in a slot formation. Backs in the tail of the tandem. And Dickey to air it out goes way up top on first down. He's got Lofton out there at the 25-yard line. And it'll be a first down for the Green Bay Packers. Pass interference against the Falcons. Bobby Butler, the culprit.
Now, Bobby Butler is a defensive back. As you look at Lehman Bennett, he doesn't like it along the sidelines. Watch this. Bobby Butler has outstanding 9.3 speed. The only problem is Lofton has the same kind of speed. Here, Butler's trying to catch up. Hits Lofton before he gets the ball, before the ball gets there. Definite interference call.
Both officials in excellent position to make the call, and both throwing the flag simultaneously. You could see that Butler got that left arm wrapped around Lofton at the 25-yard line, so the Packers get another break. This is the third time now they've had it deep inside of Atlanta territory. The first 2 times they came away empty. Bob McElway, the official, checks his crew, makes sure that the sticks are set, and we're ready to go. 1st and 10 for the Packers from the 25-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Gary Ellis, Eddie Lee Ivory. That's John Jefferson now moving out to the top of your screen. Lofton to the bottom of the screen. Jefferson in motion. 1st and 10 for the Packers. Draw play. Hole on the left side for Eddie Lee Ivory. Picks up 4. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6. Ivory, the 4-year running back out of Georgia Tech. A first-round draft pick back in '79. 6'1", 210. Good acceleration, John. Good
acceleration, not showing any effects of 2 knee injuries. As a rookie, he was hurt against Chicago in the first game of the year. 2 years later, he was also hurt against the same team. But Eddie Lee Ivory is playing well now, not showing any effects of those injuries.
2nd down and 6. The ball near the 22. Slot formation to the right side. Backs are Ellis and Del Rogers. Rogers 35 as Eddie Lee Ivory gets a rest. First down, and then the ball's lost, and you can see it's covered by the Atlanta Falcons. Lofton had the ball stripped loose, had his helmet come off, threw the helmet at the football. You can't cover a loose football with your helmet, but they're saying that Lofton was down.
That tells you everything about the Atlanta defense. Watch this. The hit that Lofton takes. They'll come after you. They'll crack you. Butler's a little too loose here, but watch his recovery and close to the ball. He really cracks Lofton. His helmet goes. The ball goes. We'll wait for the officials' call, Jim.
Now they're saying it's an incompleted pass, that Lofton never had control of the football.
So it stays where it was. I think it's a pretty good call. He didn't have control. Both feet have to be firmly on the ground once you have the ball. That's the new rule in the NFL this year. Lofton didn't have that.
So actually the Packers come away and they get a break. Line of scrimmage remains the 22-yard line. Wide receivers left and right. Jefferson to the top of your screen, Lofton to the bottom. Falcons showing blitz. Dickey reads it. Releases quickly. Got Eddie Lee Ivory looping out of the backfield, and that's what you try to do, is isolate that back on the linebacker. He's got 6 touchdowns on the ground, 1 by pass, 13 receptions for the Green Bay Packers coming in. And we'll see now where they spot the ball. They needed 7 yards for the first down. Buddy Curry, the man that had a shot at him in the backfield, missed the tackle. And it'll be shy of first down yardage, so the Packers and Bart Starr have a decision to make.
And Bob Schnelker and Bart along the sidelines trying to decide what they're going to do. Well, it's 1st and 10, so they don't. A good call there, getting the back out of the backfield. Ivory on Curry. It worked very well for Lynn Dickey.
Del Rogers and Gary Ellis are the running backs. Wide receivers are split. That's Jefferson in motion to the top of the screen. Straight ahead is Del Rogers out of Utah as he bowls his way down inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal for the Green Bay Packers. Finally, Joel Williams made the tackle along with Tom Pridemore.
We talk a lot about the running backs, and we have a whole slew of good ones. This is a third-round draft choice out of Utah. Del Rogers cracks up the middle for good yards, just misses getting into the end zone.
So it'll be first and goal. There's the book on Del Rogers out of Utah. Third-round draft pick last year. 5'10", 177. Bart Starr mixing up the running backs and doing it very effectively. They go with a double tight end alignment now. Eddie Lee Ivory and Gary Ellis. Ellis, touchdown. Eddie Lee Ivory, the fake to Ellis, and Eddie Lee Ivory puts the Packers on the board, 6-0. So after 3 tries, John, Green Bay finally gets on the board.
And Eddie Lee Ivory is the money man down by the end zone. He has 7 touchdowns, 3rd in the NFC. This is his 8th, and he's a good power runner when he gets down close. Watch, just follows his blockers, just leans in and stretches into the end zone. Eddie Lee Ivory touchdown.
The man that he ran over was Tom Pridemore. You mentioned the blockers. Tim Stokes, 9-year veteran out of Oregon, number 76 in there, replacing Carl Swanke at the left tackle, who's out with a knee injury. Stenerud, the veteran, will attempt the point after. And the Packers have a 7-0 lead over the Atlanta Falcons. 1:31 left to go. They go 80 yards in 8 plays, quarter by a 45-12 margin. And now they take a 7-0 lead against Atlanta. There's the veteran quarterback, Lynn Dickey, who's expecting all kinds of pressure this afternoon.
You know, I had a chance to talk to Dickey for a few seconds along the sideline before the game. He said it was important for the Packers to score first and take away that momentum from the Atlanta Falcons. And they've done it. So we'll see what the Falcons do to come back.
Stenerud will tee it up from the 35, and the little bowling ball, Reggie Smith, is back deep for the Atlanta Falcons. He fields it cleanly, gets to the 10, to the 15, little stutter step, and fights his way to the 20, and a penalty flag is thrown from the far side of the field. So we'll wait and check the call. Reggie Brown, number 46, 17 kickoff returns for 340 yards, averaging about 20 yards on his kickoff returns. That was a kickoff return of 17 yards, but let's wait and check the penalty. Green Bay Packers, 4 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. That tie, a 20-20 tie. You look at Bob Smelter, the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, replacing Zeke Bartkowski this year.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 36 on the return. First down.
So that backs the Atlanta Falcons up. It'll be 1st and 10 from their own 10-yard line. Glazebrook, the culprit on the penalty. And here come the Atlanta Falcons. Bartkowski brings them out. Jeff Van Oak, the veteran center. Pat Howell, R.C. Thielman are the guards. Bryant and Ken are the tackles. Kane and Andrews are the running backs. Bartkowski on 1st down got his man Alfred Jackson out near the 18-yard line. Alfred Jackson, the 5-year wide receiver out of Texas. 7th-round draft pick way back in 1978, and he's turned out to be a great find for the Falcons.
And that was a delayed blitz by Johnny Gray of the Packers. It wasn't effective at all. As you look at Houston leading Cleveland 7-0. Gifford Nielsen to Mike Renfro, an 8-yard touchdown.
There's the man who was blitzing on the last play. Inside handoff to William Andrews, who bowls his way across the 20, and that'll be a 1st down for the Falcons. You know, you mentioned the Houston Oilers, and you gave that score Gifford Nielsen. Of course, Archie Manning has been knocked out of that football game.
J.J. smiling along the sidelines. Well, he wants to win. He has that infectious enthusiasm. That, as much as his talent, has made the Green Bay Packers a contender. As you look on the other side, another talent, William Andrews.
John Jefferson told us last night at dinner, he said, boy, if Lynn Dickey gets time to throw, today's going to be a fun football game for the Packers. William Andrews, number 31. Total offensive leader, leads the Atlanta Falcons in rushing and in receptions. Backs are split, wide receivers left and right. Lynn Kane gets a block from Andrews. Did all of that on his own. Looked like he was going to be chopped down behind the line of scrimmage. And the former Trojan out of USC, a 4th-round draft pick, finally wrestled down. And after picking up 4 yards. Richard Turner out of Oklahoma in there on the hit. Time winding down at the end of the 1st quarter. Inside of 10 seconds, and that should be the final play, with the Packers who've only managed 12 points in the 1st quarter in line of scrimmage, the 25-yard line of Atlanta. It's 2nd down and 5 for Bartkowski and company. Jackson and Jenkins are the wide receivers. Lynn Kane in the backfield now, along with William Andrews. Bartkowski sets the Falcons down. They trail by a 7-0 score. William Andrews, maybe a half yard. Richard Turner in there on the hit. Now let's get an update on the Giants-St. Louis Cardinals game. Here's Brent Musburger.
Jim, the great Roger Worley's calling it a career after this season. Here he is holding for the field goal against the New York Giants. It's a fake, and Worley turns the corner and scores the touchdown for the Cardinals. They lead the Giants 7-0. Back to Jim.
Thank you, Brent. The kind of play you called in that Central Park League. It'll be third down, 5 yards to go for the Falcons. Jeff Van Oak, the veteran center, 14 years out of Kentucky. Kane and Andrews, the running back right now. Slot formation to the right side. Bartkowski will throw for it. William Andrews in and out of his hands. A fine defensive play broken up by number 55, Randy Scott, second-year inside linebacker out of Alabama, a free agent, 6'1", 220. And actually, John, had he been playing the ball and not the man, might have taken it in for the touchdown.
So many times as a defensive player, you concentrate on that man-to-man coverage. That time, Scott, watching Andrews intently, didn't see the ball. You're right, he might have been able to pick it in and walk home for the touchdown.
George Roberts, his third punt of the football game. And back deep for the Green Bay Packers, to left, Johnny Gray. Low snap. Roberts, and this one is a beauty. A high spiral that backs the Packers up to the 20-yard line. Fielded cleanly to the 30, up to the 35, and running room to the 40. Into Atlanta territory, down at the 45. Bill F., 85, almost broke it. They got the wall set up to the near side, and George Roberts, the punter, made the tackle. Otherwise, it was another touchdown for the Packers. When we come back, Green Bay's ball driving in Atlanta territory. Green Bay leads 7-zip. With you here in Atlanta, look at the Green Bay Packers' longest punt return of the season.
Philip Epps has that sprinter speed, 10-1 in 100 meters, world class, and that's what breaks him loose here. He just runs around and away from those Falcon defenders.
And George Roberts, the man that punted the football, finally came up and made the tackle. Otherwise, it would have been 6 more for Green Bay. They start now 1st and 10 at the Falcons' 45-yard line. Gary Ellis in there at one running back spot. John Jefferson out wide to the left side. Lofton out wide to the right side. In the tail of the tandem, Eddie Lee Ivory. The fake. Dickey comes back to the far side. Man is wide open, and that's Lofton. And he stepped out of bounds. Otherwise, he would have had some running room because the secondary of the Falcons, John, laying way off of James.
Jim, I'm smiling because Lofton was so wide open that Dickey didn't put a lot of mustard on that ball. It took forever to get there. Lofton was kind of hanging around the sidelines waiting for the ball to arrive. Finally just grabbed it and tiptoed out of bounds. It took forever to get there.
You got the feeling, talking to both James Lofton and John Jefferson last night around the hotel, that they didn't have the utmost respect for the secondary of the Atlanta Falcons. They thought if Dickey had time, they'd be able to bust a couple big ones.
And of course, as you saw the graphic, neither one, Jefferson or Lofton, has scored a touchdown since the strike.
That's Del Rogers, who tries the middle of that Atlanta secondary, or the middle of the Atlanta line, and he's chopped down after he barely gets it back to the line of scrimmage.
And Jim, you talk about Lofton and Jefferson. Last night we talked about them. Obviously, these two fine talents would like to have a sophisticated offense like John Jefferson had out in San Diego. You heard the comment that Lofton made. He said, together, coming into this game, we had 48 catches. Clark from San Francisco leads the NFC with 52. They want to be used more.
Del Rogers didn't need much. He picked up the first down, spot the ball at the 34-yard line of the Falcons. Slot formation to the right side. Jefferson outside, Lofton inside. Backs are Ivory and Ellis. That's in motion to James. Fumble the football, and the Falcons come up with it. And then the Packers say they got it back. It was like a hot potato inside the 25-yard line. Looked like Paul Hoffman, number 82, the tight end, might have recovered that loose football. Let's take another look and see if Gary Ellis ever had control of the football. He did there. It is finally stripped on loose. Falcons had a shot at it right there. Then they tried the lateral. Glazebrook came up with it, couldn't hang on to it, and it looked like Paul Kaufman, 82, has the football. By democratic process, the Atlanta Falcons get the football.
Is that decision by committee? Let's take a look at it again. Ellis here, just someone nicks his arm and just tips the ball out of it. Here, take a look. See Ellis coming up the middle. Watch someone get an arm on it right there. The linebacker, Pridemore, gets on the ball. It squiggles out right there as he's getting up. And there it is standing. It looks like Kaufman comes in and get it. They must have declared that Pridemore was down. And that's why. It's the only thing I can come up with. Otherwise, it was a legitimate fumbling Kaufman, and the Packers should have had the ball.
Break for the Atlanta Falcons from the 26-yard line. Atlanta starts 1st and 10. Andrews and Gerald Riggs are your running backs now. Wide receivers are left and right. 12:48 left to go. Falcons have yet to score. Riggs, with the initial carry of the football game, bulls his way near the 29-yard line. Picks up maybe 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Randy Scott, in his 2nd year out of Alabama, made the tackle secure for Green Bay.
And there's Pridemore along the sideline. Tom Pridemore, a member of the West Virginia House of Representatives. You're talking to us, Tom. How are you?
12:20 left to go in the first half. Alfred Jackson out wide to the right side. Alfred Jenkins to the near side. Gerald Riggs in the tail of the tandem as Bartkowski sets them down now on 2nd down and 7. Riggs again behind the block of Andrews. Whistle on the play perhaps before the snap.
Ball start, right guard, offense.
That'll back the Atlanta Falcons up 5 yards. There's your referee from Haddonfield, New Jersey. Bob did the Jets-Dolphins game in Miami last Saturday, a game John and I did. Flew back on the plane with him. I snuck up behind him in the line as we were checking our flight. I said, the way that you called that game, you should walk back home. He turned around and laughed.
As you look at Pittsburgh finally scoring some points, you know they've been shut out twice in the last month. They now lead 17-0. Bradshaw to Stallworth, 2 guys that have been having their problems. 9-yard touchdown.
Bartkowski sets the Falcons down. They need 11. Jackson left, Jenkins right. William Andrews out of the backfield near the 30, shy of 1st down yardage. Needed 11, got back 4 of that, so it'll be up 3rd down and 7. John Anderson and Randy Scott in there in the tackles for Green Bay. Bengals now leading the Seattle Seahawks 7-0 in the 2nd quarter. Cincinnati, of course, coming off that loss to the San Diego Chargers. A 1-yard touchdown run by Pete Johnson.
You mean that aerial battle, 1,100 yards, 84 points? The NFL is changing. As you look at William Andrews, 3 receptions, 20 yards. Andrews is a complete back. Runs the ball, receives the ball. Good blocking.
Came in with 29 catches for 414 yards, averaging 15 yards per catch. His longest 86 yards and a touchdown. Bartkowski needs 7 on 3rd down, and he gets it. But his receiver is out of bounds right in front of a furious Falcon bench. And Bartkowski never saw it. He was decked way back at the 20-yard line. Alfred Jenkins made the reception, and Lehman Bennett is furious.
Take a look at it again. Bartkowski has that kind of arm where he can throw the deep out. I think it's the thing that separates quarterbacks in the NFL. Jenkins is angry. Look, you could fry an egg on his neck. Watch it again. He just leans into the defensive back. That's number 29, Mike McCoy. Makes the fingertip grab right along the sidelines. Boy, it is close.
Packers are coming. Roberts gets his punt away. Phil Epps, who almost broke it the last time. This time it will hit and take a Green Bay bounce. And tempers are flaring down at the 35-yard line. Lofton mixing it up just a little bit. Be the judge. Was Alfred Jenkins inbounds or out of bounds?
Trying to do that little tap dance along the sidelines. Watch that 2nd foot. Looks like a good call. Got 1 foot down, the other one out of bounds.
Packers lead it by a score of 7-0. Tying Baltimore 20-20 last week. Losing the week before to Detroit, a big upset, 30-10. Before that, beating Buffalo, a playoff caliber team, 33-21. Dickey on 1st down. Airs it out. 1st down for the Green Bay Packers at the 13-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Phil Epps, who is all over the field, the rookie out of TCU.
Phil Epps has 2 touchdown passes this year, both of them against the Jets. He adds that other dimension. You'd think they've had enough receiving talent with Lofton and Jefferson. Epps is just that world-class sprinter. Watch Bobby Butler backpedaling. Bobby, turn. You better get going because you're dealing with that kind of speed. Here, Epps, good concentration. Watch him fade away. Watch the ball going down, makes the catch. Butler couldn't recover.
Interesting play by Butler for you, especially, John, because you formerly played a cornerback. He went for the ball with his inside arm. The hand that was turned toward the field as opposed to the outside arm, which was toward the receiver.
Good point, Jim.
John Jefferson in motion to the top of your screen. Inside handoff. Eddie Lee Ivory. He's got the touchdown. He's inside the 5, and he's going for his 2nd score of the football game. He nails it. Green Bay goes up 13-0.
I think Bart Starr isn't happy. This is a pivotal game for for Green Bay. They can nail down that playoff spot. He was worried. Eddie Lee Ivory, nice run around the left side for the touchdown. I mean, when you talk to Bart Starr, he talks about Eddie Lee Ivory the same way people talk about Williams Andrews, a three-dimensional player. Watch this cut here. Get some good blocking. Here, Joel Williams can't get off the block. Ivory fakes inside, goes back inside, bounces off, takes it into the end zone. That's good effort.
And a good block by the man at the top of the screen right there. You saw him, John Jefferson, number 83. Playing for personal pride. He said he's not playing for the individual stats. When he came to Green Bay, he knew he wasn't going to get the big numbers that he got with the San Diego Chargers. He's trying to help them. Watch Eddie Lee Ivory around the left side. Watch 83, John Jefferson, and the block that springs him around the left side. The play designed to go in. Nothing doing. He takes it outside. There's Jefferson at the top of the screen. There's the block. And then inside goes Eddie Lee Ivory. And he carries Pridemore within the last 3 yards. 14-0 Packers on top.
And not a bruising block. Just enough to screen the defensive back to give Ivory enough chance to cut for the touchdown.
Reggie Smith mishandles that squib kick. Finally gets it back. And the Falcons get it up across the 22-yard line. And they'll start first down and 10 yards to go from that point. Now for an update around the NFL today, let's go back to New York City and our colleague Brent Musburger.
Jim, Kansas City, the Super Bowl champion. San Francisco 49ers back on their heels. And here comes Bill Kinney. He's got the Chiefs' top draft choice, Anthony Hancock, open. A 41-yard scoring strike, 10-3. Back to Jim Kelly.
Thank you, Brent. Fuller, of course, formerly out of Clemson, so that's a bit of a surprise if you're a 49er fan. But in talking with the Falcons and talking with the Packers, they both said the 49ers not the same football team they were a year ago, and certainly the record would indicate that. Atlanta, wide receivers left and right. Riggs in the backfield along with William Andrews. Bartkowski over the middle. He's got Riggs. Riggs will go for a first down, but there's a flag all the way back at the 15-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. And the preliminary indication, if the Falcons can be believed, it's against Atlanta. There's our old friend Momentum again, John. We talked about it at the top of the telecast. The Packers had 3 tries. They were moving backwards, actually. They had it inside the 5 and failed to score. Inside the 25 and failed to score. Finally punched it over from the 2 on a run by Eddie Lee Ivory. And now the Falcons, who appear to get their momentum back.
Holding, number 78, offense, first down.
It's so true, Jim. Eddie Lee Ivory made it 14-0. And if the Falcons are to come back in this game, they're going to have to abandon some of that ball control offense that they have. Bartkowski has the ability. He has a great arm and some good receivers, excellent running backs.
How many first and 20s do you have from your own 12-yard line? Be careful time if you're the Falcons. Jenkins and Jackson split left and right. Riggs gets the call. Andrews with a block, maybe to the 15, maybe a pickup of 3. Second down and 17. Terry Jones, 5-year nose tackle, swarming on the play. An 11th round draft pick out of Alabama.
And of course, Riggs is one of those fine running backs drafted second behind Darren Nelson in this year's draft. Of course, he was #1 draft of the Falcons. He's one of those guys. He's a fullback playing halfback. He has that kind of ability. Great speed and size at 6'1", 230, 4.5 speed.
9:20 left to go in the first half. The Falcons have been held off the scoreboard. Packers trying for a playoff spot with a record of 4-2-1, lead it 14-0. Slot to the left side. Bartkowski. Packers coming with 5 men up front. Lots of time as the Atlanta offensive line is holding beautifully. And now Bartkowski unloads. He's got his man looping across near the 21. That's Billy White Shoes Johnson in his 8th year out of Widener. But he is way shy of first down yardage. Third down coming up for the Falcons. Now let's go back to New York. Brent is a very busy man.
Jim, Ray Parkin's heart may already be deep in the heart of Dixie. The Cardinals are carving up Ray's New York Giant defense this afternoon. Lomax under pressure will step up into the right, and he'll hit Roy Green, and now it's 14-0 Cardinals. Back to Jim.
Thank you, Brent. The Cardinals, of course, as you know, are 4-3, and the Giants are 3-4, so this is a big ball game for both teams. Third down, 3rd and 10 from the 21. 3rd and 10 from the 21-yard line, and Bartkowski will throw. Slot to the left side. Needs 10. Fires to the near side. Got his man. First down, Floyd Hodge in his first year out of Utah. And that time, Bartkowski threw the best ball he's thrown in the football game. Fired that one right on a rope.
And Floyd Hodge is in playing because Alfred Jackson has knee and ankle problems. This time, Hodge just goes down. The other wide receiver clears out, and Hodge just breaks towards the sideline. Bartkowski does a good job of getting it on target. excellent protection. Hodge makes the catch, and he's playing today with a flak jacket because of a broken rib he got last week. So you got to admire a guy like Floyd Hodge, number 83.
I think, John, the key is when you said excellent protection, you look at the time that Bartkowski's had the last two passes to throw the football, and you saw the huge holes over there again. 1st and 10 for Atlanta. They'll try the right side. Floyd Hodge again, a free agent out of Utah. 1st down for the Falcons. Mark Lee wrestled him out of bounds.
And Hodge again. I talked to Hodge during the week, and his friends were kidding him about scoring 2 touchdowns in those player games. Here, Hodge filling in very well. Alfred Jackson drives the defensive back off, makes a good cut towards the sideline, pulls it in, looks very easy.
Hodge came in with 8 catches for 64 yards.
He already has 3 for 44 today, so he's having a good afternoon.
Used, of course, primarily as the 3rd wide receiver with Jackson and Jenkins. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. On a roll at the 44 of Green Bay. Packers lead 14-0. They mix it up. William Andrews busts it inside, up near the 43-yard line. Former 3rd-round draft pick out of Auburn, finally tackled on the play by Mike Douglas, 5-year right side linebacker out of San Diego State, and the 2nd-year veteran out of Alabama, Randy Scott. You know, when you talk about William Andrews, you think of a great running back right now. How about Jim Brown, one of the greatest, number 32, to ever play the game? He'll be our legends of the game at halftime. Of course, Brent and Irv will have all the scores and highlights from around the NFL today. Doubleheader day here on CBS. Jackson and Jenkins, wide receivers left and right. Backs are split. Falcons looking at 2nd down and 8. Bartkowski, a little screen pass. Got Jenkins, or he's got William Andrews, and he's got a convoy. 1st down for the Falcons. George Cumbie and John Anderson in there on the tackle, but William Andrews, the leading receiver, the leading ground gainer, he just simply bowled Packers over, and you see one of them, Mark Lee, down over on the far sideline.
And you get the feeling that Bartkowski is in control of the game as we look at Mark Lee. Fine defensive back, 3rd year out of Washington. Watch this again. Bartkowski mixing up his plays. He's thrown downfield a couple of times to Hodge. Here, he comes. Andrews counts. The offensive line gets out in front of him, turns upfield. He's got that convoy. Seems like a moment of indecision. Might have gotten more. Makes a good gain. 1st down. Atlanta's on the move with 2:03 left in the half, Jim.
4% of his passes. Don't miss all the action of the Peach Bowl, Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on CBS. Estes Hood, number 38, is in. Mark Lee, 22, out in the secondary for the Green Bay Packers. Around the left side, Gerald Riggs hit and hit hard. Sandwiched down by Randy Scott. He's having a great career here this afternoon.
He sure is. That's good penetration by Anderson as you look at the score. Detroit on top of Tampa Bay, 14-3. Second quarter.
Lions a tough team to figure out.
And look at Pittsburgh. They want to be in those playoffs, leading New England 20-0. Kansas City 10-3 over San Francisco. A disastrous year for Bill Walsh. Houston 7-3 over Cleveland. Eddie Biles fighting for his job down in Houston.
2nd down and 13 from the 36. Bartkowski to air it out. Slot formation. Bartkowski can run. Decides to throw. William Andrews on a roll down inside the 16-yard line. Finally tackled. Hit down at the 16 by number 23. That is Maurice Harvey in his 4th year out of Ball State.
Now, Bartkowski isn't one of those quarterbacks that's great at avoiding the rush, but here he sidesteps one of the rushers coming up the middle. Okay, that's number 77. Butler gets away from him, keeps his composure, finds Andrews, who's breaking away from, that's 55. The linebacker, Randy Scott, can't stay with him for a good gainer, Atlanta.
1st down for the Falcons on the move. 5:35 and counting. Atlanta's been held off the board thus far. 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line of Green Bay. William Andrews, Mr. Everything, number 31 in the backfield. Bartkowski dumps it off to Riggs. Riggs on a roll. Down to the 1-foot line. Gerald Riggs, the rookie out of Arizona State, a number 1 draft pick by the Falcons.
Jim, did you see that quick move by a man who's 6'1", 232 pounds, takes the pass? That's 7 passes in a row that Bartkowski's completed. Watch this move right there. The fake, bingo, takes it upfield, and then shows his power on top of his speed and quickness. Watch this. Punishes some of the defensive backs. Number 23, Maurice Harvey can't bring him down. Gets close.
Falcons tell us that he's the fastest running back that Atlanta has. He was the 2nd back picked in the draft behind Darren Nelson of Minnesota. Tries to slither underneath. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Gerald Riggs, number 42, tackled by Mike McCoy, the 7-year right cornerback out of Colorado. You talk about Riggs, he was 6th in the Pac-10 in rushing last year with 891 yards, but 1st in the Pac-10 rushing average, over 6 yards a carry. And they like his ability as a pass catcher, which we've seen here this afternoon, almost as well as they like his ground-gaining ability.
Well, I think in the NFL these days, you have to have backs who can come out of the backfield and catch the ball. That's just part of it. Possession passing is part of the NFL in the 80s.
2nd down and goal. Falcons 90, knocking at the Green Bay door. They, of course, will key on William Andrews. A bootleg by Bartkowski, and the Packers were not fooled. George Cumbie, the 3rd-year right inside linebacker out of Oklahoma. Randy Scott, the left side inside linebacker out of Alabama. And they were not fooled on the play at all.
I have to laugh because last week against San Francisco, Bartkowski bootleg for a 1-yard touchdown. Here he tries to do it again. It's not a bootleg. He's just following his blockers. Might have been a missed handoff. No dice.
So now instead of 3rd down and maybe the length of the football, you've got it backed up at the 3-yard line. Falcons will go with a double tight end alignment. Junior Miller, number 80. Keith Prefney, former Philadelphia Eagle, number 88. And, of course, William Andrews in the backfield. Pitch back to Riggs. Behind Andrews. Tries to go outside. And the Packers chop them down. The Green Bay Packers with an excellent goal line defense. Atlanta had a 1st and goal from the 1-foot line. Johnny Gray and Mike Douglas came over to seal it off. And how will Lehman Bennett play it now?
I'm a little surprised by the call in that situation. I thought he might play action pass to one of the tight ends, maybe have Riggs come out of the backfield, but yet he pitches to Riggs. Good pursuit by the Packer defense, swarming to get a lot of helmets on Riggs. He can't get up. Watch this, the pitch. Riggs is looking for blocking now. Andrews out in front. He tries to duck inside, but no. The cornerback, number 24, makes a good play. That's Johnny Gray.
4th down, 3 yards to go for the Atlanta Falcons, who will go for it. Play action. Bartkowski scrambles, right corner, touchdown, Atlanta. William Andrews. Had to be a mix-up in the Green Bay secondary for William Andrews to be that wide open. They had Bartkowski back behind the line of scrimmage. The veteran quarterback out of California in his 8th-year scramble, and somehow managed to throw his 2nd touchdown pass of the year to William Andrews.
He's showing good ability. This is what I thought he would have done on the other play. Watch this, though. He keeps his composure, steps up from the rush, and John Anderson was right in front of the receiver, but just can't. Andrews makes the tackle. If that ball was thrown a little harder, a little more accurately, Anderson, number 59, might have had a shot at the interception.
2nd touchdown catch of the year for William Andrews. 3rd-round draft pick back in '79 out of Auburn.
12 men on the field, on the defense. Point is good. Foul assessed on the kickoff.
No harm looking for the edge, Jim.
How about the call by Lehman Bennett to go for it on 4th and 3? Falcons right back in this football game. Be interesting to talk to Steve later on and ask him if Andrews was the intended receiver. You saw Junior Miller back there behind him, and the ball was thrown high. Maybe Andrews went up and just kind of took it away. Del Rogers. And you can see what a touchdown has done to the Atlanta Falcons.
And they're a team that plays with emotion. If they get that intensity back and get a chance to get on top of you, they'll be tough to beat. And that's what they've been winning on the last few weeks.
There's the scoring drive of the Atlanta Falcons, capped off by Steve Bartkowski and his 6th scoring strike of the year. William Andrews on the receiving end has caught his 2nd touchdown catch of the year. And one of the Packers down at about the 15-yard line on that kickoff. There's William Andrews.
One of the best kept secrets in the NFL. William Andrews, possibly, as Dick Vermeil says, the best pure fullback in the league.
Green Bay Packers already hurt by injuries. That's Mark Murphy at safety in his 2nd year out of West Liberty. They've already lost number 67, tackle and center, Carl Swanke out of Boston College. There's the time remaining in the first half. Up until that touchdown toss by Bartkowski, it had been all Green Bay, 14-0, but it's 14-7. And the Falcons, with a record of 5 wins and 2 losses, are right back in it. Green Bay, as you know, 4-2-1, trying to clinch a playoff spot as well. They don't want to go into the last game of the regular season needing a victory to have to clinch a playoff spot. And there are the stats on Lynn Dickey, the veteran signal caller out of Kansas State. Traded from the Houston Oilers in '76 over to Green Bay. Dickey in his 12th year. Works with Gary Ellis and Eddie Lee Ivory in the backfield. Lofton to the left side. John Jefferson to the right side. Quick out. Ball batted up in the air and almost intercepted. And the Packers were that close from having the Falcons tie up that football game. Jeff Merrill, an 8-year veteran out of Virginia with all kinds of pressure, and Don Smith almost came up with a big interception.
The Falcons are very simple defensively. In order to cover up for some of their personnel weaknesses, they have to come with pressure. That time they came with a lot of pressure. Merrill right in Dickey's face, batted the ball up, almost a touchdown for Don Smith.
Falcons already have one interception so far in this football game. Tampa Bay has added a field goal. They trail the Lions now by a score of 14-6. That game late in the second quarter in Green Bay. We'll have all the scores and highlights with Brent Musburger coming up at halftime in the NFL today. Second down and 10 from the 13-yard line. It's kind of be careful time for the Packers now. Kaufman in motion to the top of the screen. Dickey over the middle, got his man. James Lofton up near the 18-yard line. That was John Jefferson, excuse me. Number 83, 5-year wide receiver out of Arizona State. Hammered down by Bobby Butler.
Hammered is the word, too. One of the things Atlanta tries to do to receivers like Jefferson is to get their attention, affect their concentration, and come hit them. So in the fourth quarter, you don't have anything left, and when you come over the middle again, you might think twice about catching the ball. It's intimidation. That's the byword for the Atlanta defense.
Time left to go in that first half, and we approach the 2-minute warning, and we're right there. Gary Ellis, number 31, is the lone setback. Lofton to the left side, John Jefferson to the right side. Long count by Dickey. Might be inaudible. Falcons coming. Wide open is James Lofton, and they won't catch James. An 80-yard touchdown toss, and Lofton is all the way into the tunnel. He's taking halftime early.
That's the kind of situation you want to get, okay? You get a one-on-one situation. He's gone. Come on back. James, it's not over. Here he comes. A triumphant return, hands in the air. As a defensive player, as an offensive player, you want to get one-on-one on the blitz. Atlanta is coming with just about everybody. Here you get a one-on-one situation. That's a mismatch. Kenny Johnson, number 37, does not have the speed to stay with a world-class athlete like James Lofton. And he doesn't. Lofton takes it for the touchdown.
Ran right away from Kenny Johnson, the veteran out of Mississippi State, and there goes James Lofton into the tunnel. The longest Green Bay touchdown pass of the year, and there you can see it is James Lofton's first touchdown catch since the strike. He, of course, one of the Packer player reps who was so involved in the negotiations. So Stenerud will try for his third point after and try to up that Green Bay lead to 14 points. Snap, spot, kick, and Stenerud nailed it. Stenerud will tee it up. Reggie Smith is back deep. Will field it cleanly at the 5. Flag on the play, and he fights his way back to the 20, and I literally mean fights his way because he was in the grasp of a host of Packers. Byron Bragg, 73, was the first to get to him. Second-year huge defensive tackle out of Alabama, 6'4" and 290, and still growing. They grew him big down there, Crimson Tide country.
It'll be interesting to see what Bartkowski, of course, he has that kind of arm and ability to move a team in a hurry down the field. He has a good running backs and good wide receivers. Listen to the call.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 36 on the return team. First down.
Just to complete what I was saying, Jim, as you look at Dickey along the sidelines, nice touch on that last pass to Lofton. Thinking about Bartkowski's situation now, you can't play defensively as an offense. I think he has to come out and try to put some points on the board. He's down 21-7. He needs to go in with some of a lift versus a downer.
Falcons have 1:40 with which to work, and they've got all 3 timeouts remaining. William Andrews in there at the running back spot. And now some tunnel, disappearing with a football after an 80-yard touchdown catch. Watch what happens to John Jefferson right here as Bobby Butler, the Falcons, reacts.
Bobby Butler doesn't like the fact that Jefferson's a happy man too, knocks him down. No defensive back likes a touchdown, especially a long one. Obviously, Butler was frustrated, but why take it out on John Jefferson? Remember a few weeks back? Jefferson's already taken enough hits.
Excuse me, but isn't that long after the play is over? I mean, John Jefferson was out of bounds. James Lofton was already in the tunnel. That hit came about 10 seconds after the play had ended.
Totally unnecessary.
Isn't there a flag due?
If the officials saw it, obviously he didn't. He was probably trying to figure out where Lofton was going out to the parking lot.
There's the book on Steve Bartkowski. Only 4 incompletions. And the Falcons will keep it on the ground. That's not going to please the crowd here at Fulton County Stadium. Ezra Johnson, 6-year veteran out of Morris Brown, in there on the hit. Right defensive end. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Brent Nerve will have all the scores and highlights around the NFL today. And Jim Brown, number 32 for the Cleveland Browns. The legends of the game.
Jimmy Brown, one of the great ones. You know, there are only 5 men who have gained over 2,000 yards in rushing and receiving in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. William Andrews is one of them. We've talked about it. Jimmy.
And to go for the Falcons. Let's see if they'll put it up now. They've got 2 timeouts left. Jackson and Jenkins, the wide receivers. Bartkowski to put it up. Bartkowski got Jenkins up near the 34-yard line, and it'll be a first down for the Falcons. Mike McCoy, 7-year right cornerback from Colorado, finally threw him out of bounds for simply a corner out pattern, and Jenkins got 3.
And Jenkins drove McCoy deep down the field. Obviously, McCoy worrying about the takeoff and the touchdown. Jenkins just pulls up. Bartkowski throws it over the linebacker in front of the defensive back. Good catch by number 84, and he gets out of bounds to stop the clock.
Good throw by Bartkowski, too, over the linebacker in front of the cornerback. A gum-chewing Lehman Bennett. First and 10 for the Falcons. William Andrews not fooled for the Green Bay Packers on a fine defensive play is Terry Jones.
A great play by the nose tackle. Fights off the block and comes over and makes it as you look at Lofton along the sidelines.
Atlanta takes timeout and stops the clock with 1:19 left to go. Besides being the player rep, you know what else James did? We'll face Larry Farmer, who, of course, played for Denny Crum when he was an assistant at UCLA. College basketball right here on CBS Sports. Second and 15. Bartkowski fires over the middle. Got Jenkins again up near the 44-yard line. Alfred Jenkins putting on a catching clinic so far for the Atlanta Falcons. He's been wide open, and Bartkowski's been firing right on the run.
Of course, Alfred Jenkins last year led the NFL in receiving yardage with 1,358. Here he fights off the double team, comes inside. They were double covering him.
Slot to the left side. Bartkowski looks at the blitz, fires over the middle, and down goes Alfred Jenkins. And down goes the penalty flag. And this will be a very controversial call.
Jim, I think what they're going to call is a defensive back with a good hit, but I think he went high with the elbow under the chin. And I think that's what the referees are going to call against the Green Bay Packers. Let's wait and see.
Number 21, Mike Jolly, second-year defensive back out of Michigan. The man that I believe will be called for the personal foul. And you can see Alfred Jenkins over there pleading with the referee, saying, hey, what's going on here? Of course, that hit, reminiscent of the hit by Stan Blinka of the New York Jets that was put on a member of the Green Bay Packers, John Jefferson, who talked about it last night when we were having dinner.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 21, defense, first down.
John Jefferson thought the one-game suspension of Blinka was a good idea because it will prevent things like this. Watch Jolly go up high. Had he hit Jenkins just a regular hit with his shoulder, not gone up here with his head to his chin, he wouldn't have gotten called.
So it'll be first down, 10 yards to go for the Falcons. Slot formation to the right side. William Andrews, the lone running back. A mix-up on the snap. Bartkowski started to back up. Jeff Van Oat, the center, started to pull out, and the ball stayed right there at the 43-yard line. Jeff Van Oat in his 14th year out of Kentucky, an 11th round draft pick back in '69.
Ball start, number 68, offense, first down.
R.C. Thielman, right guard, 6-year pro out of Arkansas.
You're talking about Jeff Van Note, number 57 in red. I mean, 5 Pro Bowls, 3 straight. Just the anchor of that Atlanta offensive line, 14 years in the league.
You see the time left in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. 48 seconds, and the Falcons with 1 timeout. Penalty flag is down. Andrews has the ball at the 45 of Green Bay and bulls his way down near the 40-yard line. But as we said, a flag on the play. Casey Merrill, 4-year pro out of California Davis, a free agent, 6'4", 255, in there on the hit. And this call goes against Atlanta.
Number 61, offense, first down.
John Scully, second second year out of Notre Dame, a fourth-round draft pick in '81 that caught on the play. Play is sent in, and carrying it in is number 83, Floyd Hodge.
And Atlanta having problems with penalties. You see it penalized 7 times for 93 yards. That's been a problem in the first half. Can't get a consistent offense if you're getting penalties.
Jackson to the left side, Jenkins to the right side, Hodge in the slot. Backs are split for Bartkowski. He needs 25 yards. They'll set up the screen, and that's Gerald Riggs. Gets a block into Green Bay territory, but way shy of first down yardage. Casey Merrill, the 4-year linebacker out of California Davis, in there in the tackle, and the Falcons will have to hurry it up. 23, 22. Audibilizing. Jackson to the left side. Bartkowski takes the safe out, and William Andrews, I believe, heard some footsteps coming. In the vicinity was number 23 for the Packers, Maurice Harvey, but he was way off the ball. Clock, of course, stops on the incompleted pass.
In fairness to Andrews, that's a tough angle. It's tough for the quarterback to throw it, tough for a receiver to catch it because you're twisting around almost back to the line of scrimmage. Andrews couldn't make the catch.
So now it's third down, 15 yards to go. The line of scrimmage is the 47-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. Stacey Bailey, 82, checks in for Atlanta, and Lynn Kane, the 4-year running back out of USC, also checks in. Gerald Riggs, 42, is out. So with 11 seconds left, you would expect Bartkowski to go deep and hope for a completion, or at the very least a penalty against the Green Bay Packers. That time the receivers turned it inside, and Bartkowski threw the ball outside. Stacey Bailey might have made a rookie mistake, John Dockery, number 82, third-round draft pick out of San Jose State. He went inside. He went the same position that Alfred Jenkins went. The pass thrown by Bartkowski was a timing pattern and a long incompletion.
Exactly right. It was a spot pass. Bartkowski threw it to the spot on the deep out. There wasn't a receiver present.
Well, you don't think that we'll see that Hail Mary play that we saw so often 2 years ago, do we, when Atlanta was fighting for a playoff spot? Remember those great games they had against New Orleans, and Bartkowski pulled both of them out on the little deflections of Jackson and Jenkins?
He didn't get the reputation of being the mad bomber for nothing. He's got a great arm to throw it downtown.
Time left. Screen pass. Lynn Kane. Nothing doing. See how much time Lynn Dickey had. Number 80, James Lofton, running right away from number 37. That is Kenny Johnson. You can see how wide open he was by 5 yards, and you're not going to catch James Lofton. Watch what he does after he goes into the end zone, right into the tunnel. He thought he was going to take maybe halftime early. An 80-yard scoring strike from Lynn Dickey to James Lofton. Lofton's first touchdown catch of the season, and it's 21-7 at halftime in favor of the Green Bay Packers with a record of 4-2-1, trying to clinch a playoff spot. So as you look to the second half, John, what do you look for if you're the Atlanta Falcons trying to play catch-up and regain momentum?
They can play catch-up because they have talent in Bartkowski and some excellent receivers and running backs.
We'll be back right after these messages with the second half. The Atlanta Falcons and the Green Bay Packers. Reggie Smith, of course, I was thinking of the punt returner, the kickoff returner who was here for so many years. A little fella built along the lines of a bowling ball. This is Reggie Brown, number 46, not Reggie Smith. Reggie Brown, back deep. The rookie out of Oregon is 5'11", 211 pounds. There's a friend of John Dockery.
Phone home, buddy.
And Jan Stenerud all set to tee it up. Falcons on the short end by 14 points, and Reggie Brown takes it 4 yards deep and will elect to kneel down and take it 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. So Bartkowski and company with Alfred Jenkins, Alfred Jackson, and William Andrews, and lots of offensive weapons will bring it out. Let's take a look now at the halftime stats. Dead even as far as first downs are concerned. Yards rushing, the Pack 66, and Atlanta 24. A bit of a surprise there. Andrews 7 carries for a total of just 11 yards. And yards passing, well, as far as Lynn Dickey is concerned, of the 160 yards, 80 of those coming on the scoring strike to James Lofton. Bartkowski, you saw the book on him right there as he brings them out. 18 of 28, 205 yards, and 1 touchdown. Straight ahead, power football for William Andrews in his 4th year out of Auburn. Picks up 4. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6.
I don't think you'll see any panic on the part of the Atlanta Falcons because they know they're a good football team. They're hoping, when you go to the camp, they start to talk about 1980 when they were 12-4 and they lost to Dallas in the playoffs and one of the best teams in the NFL. They believe this team is similar to that team.
Jenkins and Jackson are split out left and right. Lynn Kane gets the call. Stutter steps maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a pickup of a half a yard. It'll be 3rd and 5 as Randy Scott in his second year out of Alabama in there on the hit and made the tackle secure.
A little surprised to see them run the ball, establish that ball control. They did, as we said, have the ball for almost 19 minutes in the first half to 11 for the Green Bay Packers, but you have to do something with it. You're behind now. You have to put the ball up and mix it up. But I don't think you'll see any mad bombing on the part of Bartkowski. He's got too many good weapons.
3rd and 5. Floyd Hodge, the rookie out of Utah, is in. Lynn Kane, the veteran out of USC, is out. Slot formation to the left side. Bartkowski on the quick count. Andrews stays at home to block. Got his man. That's Hodge out of Utah. And that's a first down for the Falcons. No flags on the play. So Atlanta, initial possession here early in the first half, or check it in the second half, as a first down. As you see Hodge checking out. 3 catches, 44 yards.
And having a good afternoon, as we said before. He's made some key catches. Here he just beats the defensive back across the middle. Ball gets in there. It was just at the time you had to throw it in order to get in there in the Green Bay defense.
You see Jackson down deep. He was at the top of your screen to clear out the zone. Jenkins now to the right side. Jackson to the left side. Backs are Lynn Kane and William Andrews from the 34. Bartkowski to throw on first down. Near sideline. Wide open is Alfred Jackson in his 5th year out of Texas. And that's another first down for the Atlanta Falcons. Update now. That Tampa Bay-Detroit game. Doug Williams has just carried it in from 3 yards out after Billy Sims had rambled in from 3. So it's 21-13. Tampa Bay on the short end by 8 to the Detroit Lions.
Alfred Jackson makes the catch here, ducks out of bounds, and after the play you saw him walk off. He's having knee problems and ankle problems. He hardly practiced during the week. A credit to his courage that he can play today.
Jackson and Jenkins are split left and right. Backs are split as well. 1st and 10 from the 40 Citadel Falcons. Bartkowski, a little screen pass to William Andrews. Got 2 blockers out in front. Now cuts it back against the grain and gets into Packer territory at the 49-yard line.
For a moment, it looked like William Andrews had the entire field open to him. He took a moment after he caught the ball, didn't turn upfield, tried to cut back. The swarming Packer defense made a good play to recover.
Take a look at a blitzing Mike Douglas, 5th year out of San Diego State, right outside linebacker, putting pressure on Bartkowski.
Nicknamed the Mad Dog because of his style of play on the field. Not that big, but extreme quickness, kind of like Joel Williams on the other side. Just sheds the offensive back, knocks Bartkowski down.
That was Lynn Kane. He looked like William Andrews knocking over Ronnie Lott a week ago. And this is Lynn Kane to the left side. Tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. In there on the hit was Terry Jones in his 5th year out of Alabama, an 11th round draft pick, and the Packers liked him a lot. We told you that Tampa Bay was closing the gap against Detroit, and of course the Lions on the top end by 8 points, and they'll be the second half of our doubleheader game next week here on CBS, as many of you will see the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. And Atlanta, well, they'll be on the road against the New Orleans Saints. Lots of activity next weekend in New Orleans. That should be a wild and woolly place on New Year's weekend. It is 3rd and 5, just outside Packer territory. Intercepted and then dropped at the 27-yard line. Back there for the Green Bay Packers, Johnny Gray, the veteran out of Fullerton, California Fullerton, as you see Lynn Dickey over on the sideline, anticipating coming in. The man for whom the ball was intended was Floyd Hodge. Johnny Gray almost came up with the INT.
Floyd Hodge coming across the middle in a lot of traffic. That'll cause a nice fake there. Comes back inside the ball, just goes off his hands, slightly behind him. Oh. Defensive backs with those cement hands. Johnny Gray can't hold on to it.
Phil Epps, number 85, a pleasant surprise for the Packers, will field this punt by George Roberts plainly at the 10. They try to get the wall set up, maybe to the 14, and a flag is thrown down from the far side. You know, in talking with Bart Starr yesterday in his suite as he was entertaining his family and nice enough to allow us to come on in and spend some time with him and his coaching staff, we said, what's the biggest surprise on this Green Bay team? And he said, without a doubt, number 85, Phil Epps.
Phil Epps, of course, adds another dimension to their team. Great speed. He also Bart talked about Ezra Johnson playing well at the defensive end. Of course, last year, Casey Merrill beat out Johnson. So Bart's generally happy with his team. Inconsistent offense the last couple of weeks, happy with the defensive team.
Well, on the other side of the coin, as we check Bob.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 38 on the return team. First down.
On the other side of the coin, we asked Bart, we said, what's your biggest disappointment then this year? And he thought about it pensively for a moment. He said, I really prefer not to comment, but you get the idea that had he gone ahead with it, he would have said it would be the offensive line. We've got 11:16 to go, and the Falcons, Atlanta 7. John Jefferson in motion to the near side. Inside handoff. That is Gary Ellis, number 31. The third-year running back, a free agent out of Missouri, who bucks it over across the 11-yard line. Now for an update on that Tampa Bay-Detroit game. Once again, here's Brent.
Jim, Doug Williams is about to bobble the snap from center here against Detroit. But watch what the Buccaneer quarterback does to the ball. Picks it up, gets on into the end zone. Now it's 21-13. Lions still ahead. Back to Jim.
Thank you, Brent. Of course, Tampa Bay 3-4 and the Detroit Lions 3-4. So that's a big ball game for both clubs. From the 10-yard line, John Jefferson in motion once again. Dickey, quick drop. Falcons are coming over the middle. Got the tight end, Paul Kaufman, in his 5th year out of Kansas State, a free agent, 6'3", 218. And he'll be very, very close to first down yardage. There's Jim Loslovic over on the sideline. Nine-year linebacker out of Penn State. Of course, he came over from the San Diego Chargers.
One of those Penn State linebackers. You see him everywhere. As you look at Lynn Dickey's statistics, a lot of yardage. Of course, that 80-yard touchdown to Lofton added a lot to his 176.
The book on Lynn Dickey so far this afternoon. Ellis and Ivory are the running backs. First and 10 from the 17. Jefferson in motion. Eddie Lee Ivory, flag on the play, thrown at about the 22-yard line. From whence the flag was thrown, one would suspect holding against the Packers. Colton Kuykendall is out of the lineup as far as the Atlanta Falcons are concerned. Left side outside linebacker, and Jim Laughlin, number 51 from Ohio State, is in. That could really hurt the Atlanta defense because Fulton really having maybe his best year of the year.
Number 68, offense, first down.
And this is an interesting situation with first and maybe 18 yards to go. Last year, we talked about it a little bit. The Packers are ahead 17-0. Atlanta came back to win that game 31-17. Last week, they were ahead also against Baltimore. They lost. As you look at the St. Louis Cardinals, 17-7 over the Giants.
And, of course, next week, Cardinals will be playing at RFK Stadium in Washington, where the Bears take on the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. After the penalty, it's first and 18. Wide receivers left and right locked into the top of the screen. John Jefferson at the bottom, and you can see Larry McCarron, the veteran center in his 10th year of Illinois, belted by the nose tackle, Don Smith. You know, you talk about Larry McCarron. He has played in 103 consecutive games for the Green Bay Packers, the last 100 of which he's been their starting center. He's been a Packer for 10 years, which is longer than any other player on the Green Bay club. That's just an example of hard work and dedication. He's been around a long time.
And Don Smith, just a little anxious, gets into McCarron for the penalty. And we have two of the best centers in the NFC, Larry McCarron for the Packers and Jeff Van Note, of course, the Atlanta Falcon, the Pro Bowler. Penalty's a problem for Atlanta, denying for over 100 yards. Tough to win if you're being penalized that much.
From the 14, it's first and 13. Eddie Lee Ivory is on the sideline at the moment. Joe Rogers is in, number 35. Dickey will throw for it. Fires to the right side, and he's got number 83, John Jefferson. And Jefferson managed to come up with a football. It was a very low throw, and he did it right in front of Bobby Butler, beating Al Richardson to the outside.
Not only did Jefferson, great view of the defensive back playing outside position here. Jefferson drives him inside, gets him to turn a little bit. That's the difference. Breaks outside, bounces right up after he catches the ball, trying to get a couple extra yards.
And you see where he had that left arm? The lower part of the arm was right on the ground, and he kept the football between himself and the ground to make sure that the official recognized it as a true completion. Ellis and Ivory in the backfield now. It's first and 10 from the 28-yard line. Packers on the move, and they lead by 14 points with 3 minutes left to go in this third quarter. Eddie Lee Ivory, first down and more for the Green Bay Packers up close to the 43-yard line. Joe L. Williams clinging on for the Falcons.
And boy, the Packers are happy to see this man run this way. Back in 1980, got 131 yards, 481 more passing. Of course, knee injuries have been his problem. Here, makes a nice cut up the middle, gets good yardage. Eddie Lee Ivory is back for the Pack.
Kuykendall is out, of course. We said that he was having perhaps his best year of his career. He had 45 solo tackles this year and 7 passes broken up. Second on the team in tackles behind Buddy Curry, and 2 interceptions in that 35-0 whitewash against the New Orleans Saints. Lynn Dickey on play action. Fires deep for James Lofton again. How do you do? Touchdown, Green Bay. He beat Kenny Johnson again.
It's a danger that you're going to face if you are the Atlanta Falcons. Do not have superior athletes in the secondary. They don't have superior speed. Tom Pridemore did not get over from his middle safety position to help Kenny Johnson on this. It's just simply a good fake by Dickey. The big post pattern. He breaks outside to turn the defensive back, and then he just runs away from him. See Pridemore, had he been there a little earlier, he would have knocked that ball down, but instead he makes Kenny Johnson, the cornerback, look foolish for the second time this afternoon.
Lofton looks like a thoroughbred in about a mile and a 16th race. He gets you around that far turn, and then he just kind of put it in there absolutely perfectly. John Centerwood will try again. His point after is up, and it's good. So the Green Bay Packers go up by a score of 28-7 over the Atlanta Falcons. As you look now at James Lofton, who has 2 big touchdown catches so far against the Falcons. Green Bay headed for the playoffs. Falcons are already in.
From Atari, made especially for systems from Atari. The video game that lets you help E.T. get home.
Watch the reaction, the high five first with the fan in the stand, and then watch the spike. All right, James, the reverse spike, and here come the teammates, and it's a 21-point Green Bay advantage. 28-7, the Pack on top. Reggie Brown, number 46, is back deep. He will field it cleanly at the 3, 10, 20. And hammered down at the 22-yard line. There's the scoring drive, the longest Packers scoring drive of the season, capped off by that 57-yard scoring strike from Dickey to James Lofton. Interesting, you know, as we talked with both coaches yesterday, and I asked the question of Lehman Bennett first, I said, how many points will it take to win the football game? He said 24. In the meeting last night with Bart Starr, he said, well, you figure that the Falcons will get at least 21 points, so we'll have to score 28. They have done exactly that.
The man is a prophet. But it's not over. There will be more scoring. Bartkowski has the ability to put points on the board in a hurry.
8:01 left to go in the third quarter. Splits both wide receivers. Jenkins and Jackson got his man, William Andrews, and he's got very nearly a first down. Had to get it up to about the 31.5. May have been chopped down at the 31. We'll wait and see where they spot it after the forward progress. John Anderson threw him down, the 5-year linebacker out of Michigan. That was the score 1 year ago going into the fourth quarter. The Packers led by 17 points. What was the final score?
31-17. The roof fell in. There it is right there. Atlanta came back to beat the Pack. That has to be preying on their mind as they lead now 28-7.
Well, you know, we talked to Johnny Gray about that, though. We said, is that any extra kind of motivation for you? Does that come into your mind at all when you think about being kind of humiliated after losing a 17-point lead? He said, no, not really. All we need for incentive in this football game is a chance to clinch a playoff spot.
And it certainly proved to be incentive today. It's very close to the first down, but not enough. Well, also last week, the Packers leading 20-7 against Baltimore in the fourth quarter. They tie that one 20-20. As Kuykendall along the sideline, nursing an injury.
Well, James Lofton told us last night when they were ahead 20-6, they thought that they had the game pretty well put away. But they came back, the Colts did, made the big plays on offense, and of course each team missed the field goal try in the overtime session, so it wound up a 20-all tie. They just need a couple of inches, and the Falcons will bowl it over the right side, no problem picking it up there, with Warren Bryant and Dave Scott doing the blocking, Jeff Van Oat, the veteran center. And there is James Lofton with 2 touchdown passes to his credit. He had none coming into this football game. Not so much a reflection, of course, on his ability, because he can put some big numbers up in a hurry, but more a reflection on how much time Lynn Dickey has to throw the football, and that has certainly been a key to this football game. First First and 10 for the Falcons. They trail by 21, but they're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. 6:55 and counting left to go in the third quarter. Wide receivers, left and right, throws underneath. William Andrews approaches the 40-yard line and is chopped down at the 39. George Cumby, 52. Randy Scott, 55, in there on the tackle. Now for an update around the NFL today, let's check in again with Brent Musburger.
Jim, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have closed to within 1 of Detroit. Doug Williams here will hit James Owens, who does an excellent job of staying inbounds for the score. Now let's go back to Jim.
Thank you, Brent. And, of course, as you and Irv have told us, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Detroit Lions, both 3-4, along with the New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants. So everybody's got some big playoff games going on. Floyd Hodge out of Utah comes up with a first down catch for the Atlanta Falcons. We said don't go away. This game is far from over. Atlanta can strike with some key offensive weapons. They've got Alfred Jenkins, they've got Alfred Jackson, and this man, Floyd Hodge, is putting on some kind of a show this afternoon in his first year, a free agent out of Utah.
And they also have number 10. Watch him throw it over the defensive back. That's number 24, Johnny Gray, just over his hands. Hodge makes the catch with good concentration, turns it upfield for another 6 or 7 yards.
Hodge, as we said, came into the game with 8 catches for 64 yards. Let's check the stats on this young man out of Utah who is a free agent, and we'll update that after this play. Jackson to the left, Jenkins to the right, William Andrews. First down and more for the Falcons. He is just unstoppable. That's what he did last week against the San Francisco 49ers when the Falcons put away the defending Super Bowl champions 17-7. And the man who missed the tackle, Maurice Harvey, in his 4th year out of Ball State.
And that's why he's 5th in the NFC in rushing behind George Rogers, who has 535 yards. Watch him bounce off people. So strong. Good, great balance there. Twists around, keeps his balance, goes for extra yards. William Andrews.
Checking out of the lineup now is number 82, Stacey Bailey, the rookie out of San Jose State. And I believe it's Billy White Shoes Johnson, number 81, who is checked back in. Free agent out of Widener, who can break the game open at almost any moment. From the 21, Bartkowski. Corner route, underthrown down near the 13-yard line, and a fine defensive play broken up by Mark Lee, veteran defensive back for the Green Bay Packers, a second-round draft pick in 1980. The ball intended for Alfred Jenkins. We're talking about Hodge, the free agent out of Utah, 5 receptions for 76 yards. Pretty good performance.
A great afternoon when you consider all of this year. He only had 8 for 64 coming into today's game, so he's having a good afternoon. Of course, Alfred Jackson not playing that much because of knee and ankle trouble.
There he is, number 83, the free agent out of Utah. He scored 3 of Atlanta's 6 touchdowns in the preseason. He played quarterback until his senior year at Utah, so you might look for him on the end around. He can throw the ball. William Andrews. Not much doing around the left side. Johnny Gray pulled him down around the ankles.
I love Lehman Bennett's comment on William Andrews. He says it's like a guy who buys a Cadillac and finds out it gets 25 miles to the gallon. Talking about William Andrews. Career record of Lehman Bennett. Some good years, some tough years.
Tell us about the cartoon.
Ah, you love that cartoon, right? In the locker of William Andrews is a cartoon, and it has the running back in a posture of a horse. And there's a blacksmith putting a shoe on this horse. And the blacksmith is Lehman Bennett. And across the thoroughbred is that man, number 31, William Andrews.
A little bit like Secretariat, do you think? 3rd and 5. Big play time for the defense of the Packers, for the offense of the Falcons. From the 17, Bartkowski. Little swing pass. Got Lynn Kane, got a blocker to the 15, to the 10. Down fighting his way to the 5, to the 4, to the 3, and finally out of bounds at the 2-yard line. John Anderson saved a touchdown for the Green Bay Packers. However, there is a flag on the play, and it will go against Atlanta.
Lehman Bennett can't be a happy man. Penalties all afternoon have caused problems for Atlanta. You can't have a consistent offense, as we said before. That was a well-designed play. A simple pass to Kane out of the backfield. Great move as we listen to the penalty.
Pass interference, number 83. 3rd down.
That's Floyd Hodge, free agent out of Utah, called for offensive pass interference, negating a big play by Lynn Kane on the swing pass around the right side. Let's take another look. And look at the blocking and then look at the running by Lynn Kane.
Here's Hodge. Must have been the penalty right there, pushing.
So instead of 1st and goal, they're looking now at 3rd down and about 15 yards to go. All the way back at the 28-yard line. Bartkowski Pressure by the Packers, and they sack Steve Bartkowski back at the 40-yard line. Casey Merrill, free agent from California Davis.
Casey Merrill, good pressure, but Bartkowski had some time to throw. He just couldn't find it. Merrill gets good pressure in there for Ezra Johnson. Watch it now. And he's working against Mike Ken, the All-Pro, number 78. Just gets outside, excuse me, that's number 64, Pat Howell, the guard. Gets Bartkowski, not showing mobility to get away from that rush. And it's a sack.
Of course, anytime the linemen come up with a sack, you've got to credit those men in the secondary because that means the receivers are covered. And, of course, Bartkowski unable to get the ball away. So now it is 4th down and about half the length of the football field.
And you're talking about you have to credit that defensive line because before today's game, in the last 5 games, Bartkowski's only been sacked 7 times in 5 games.
How's this for a call? 4th and 28, and they go for it.
Says something about your punter.
Says something about trailing by 21. Floyd Hodge, open at the 7-yard line, in and out of his hands, and no flag. Steve Bartkowski threw the ball right on a rope, and Maurice Harvey, in his 4th year out of Ball State, another free agent, was there. But Floyd Hodge was wide open, and Bartkowski had that ball right on the money.
And consider the fact that he has a cracked rib, and watch him stretch out here, Floyd Hodge, and take a big hit by number 23, Maurice Harvey.
But as you looked at it, did you see Johnny Gray, number 24, coming over from the bottom of the screen? And he, I'm sure, got his arms up in front of Floyd Hodge and bothered him. So the deficit, as far as the Falcons are concerned, remains at 21. Take a look and watch for Johnny Gray, number 24, coming from the bottom of the screen. John, you played defensive back, and you get those arms up and just bother the receiver right there.
He was also going for the interception. Had he had his other defensive back, Maurice Harvey, number 23, not been there, Hodge might have had a chance to catch that ball.
There he is, the fine rookie, or check it, a free agent out of Utah, who has 5 catches for almost 66 yards so far this afternoon. When's the last time you saw a coach go for it on 4th and 28 with 3:08 left to go in the 3rd quarter? Double tight end alignment for the Packers now, leading by 21, 28-7. Slot formation to the left side. Gary Lewis in motion to the top of the screen, and breaking it up the middle is Gary Ellis to the midfield stripe.
You talk about a coach going for it on 4th and long. You're down by a lot of points, as you say. You also have confidence in your defense. Atlanta has won for the last 3 weeks on their defense. Lehman Bennett knows that. He's going to call on them again to hold the Packers and then give Atlanta the ball back. See if Bartkowski can put some points on the board.
Green Bay, 4 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. They tied the Colts. Motion to the near side is John Jefferson on 1st and 10. Eddie Lee Ivory with 2 touchdown runs, picks up maybe 2.5, almost 3 yards. Let's call it 2nd down and 7. You can see tempers flaring right down there on the 47-yard line. Some of the Packers thought there was maybe a late hit by one of the Falcons, but no flags were called. Doubleheader day here on CBS. The Eagles in the rather unusual role of spoiler. Dallas Cowboys already in the playoffs. Washington Redskins battling the New Orleans Saints. Bum Phillips has the Saints playing very tough defense, but they've got some problems on offense. Kenny Stabler is out, and who will play quarterback? Bobby Scott or Guido Merkins?
I see where Fulton Kuykendall at number 54 is back in the game for Atlanta.
And, of course, those of you in Chicago will see the Bears and the Rams. What many feel will be Ray Malavasi's second to last game. John Jefferson in motion to the near side. Lynn Dickey fires over the middle. He's got locked in, and he's stripped of the football up close to 1st down yardage. Kuykendall in there on the hit.
Captain Crazy. Watch him. He loves to see those receivers come across the middle. Lofton does that. Kuykendall fakes the blitz, steps back. Now he's looking. He's looking. He's got his head on a swivel. He finds Lofton coming across and lays a lick on him.
You know, the Atlanta Falcon defense, John, used to be known as the Grits Blitz. Now they're Lehman's Demons or whatever you want to call them, but there's a song down here they play on the radio about sacking the pack.
Going back from practice the other day when I saw the Falcons on Wednesday, they had that. Lehman's Demons will sack the pack and a whole bunch of other lyrics. They feel like 1980 they have something going.
Wide receivers left and right on the draw play. 1st down for the Packers, and look at this. What a huge hole over the right side of that line for Gary Ellis. Leotis Harris and Greg Cook, the right guard and right tackle respectively, 69 and 68. And there's a 1-2 punch out of Arkansas. Opened up a huge hole for Gary Ellis. 1st down and more.
Give credit to the offensive line and good play calling. Ellis just breaks it up the middle. and there's no one there to make the tackle. Shows some good speed for the first down.
Gary Ellis came in here not all that enamored with the offense of the Green Bay Packers. He wasn't really happy with his role in the offensive mix. He had 45 carries for 132 yards. His longest was for 15 yards. He just busted that one, and he had 1 touchdown. Double tight end alignment for the Green Bay Packers. They lead by 21. Eddie Lee Ivory on a counter play, and he did most of that on his own. Fights his way down to the 11-yard line before Buddy Curry, the veteran inside linebacker out of North Carolina, finally made the tackle. Pittsburgh on top over New England by 13 points. The Patriots have shut out their opponents the 2 previous weeks. And, of course, that's a big game for the Steelers. They are 4-3. Equally big game as far as the Patriots are concerned. They are 4-3. Seattle, very explosive and very respectable now under Mike McCormick, coming back in that big game. Seahawks are 3-4, and they're very much alive for a playoff spot. 2nd down and 5. John Jefferson in motion to the near side. Inside handoff, bouncing off a man is Del Rogers, and then finally chopped down the rookie out of Utah. Well, the Green Bay Packers like to go drafting out Utah way.
Oh, they sure do. And I'm a little surprised to see the Pack rush so well against this fine Atlanta defense, which is 4th in the NFC.
So that's the end of the 3rd quarter. It's been all Green Bay. As the Falcon fans are concerned, this one is by no means over. But frankly, John, since the opening kickoff, it's been Green Bay. They took the opening kickoff. They had a couple of scoring opportunities, came up empty. Eddie Lee Ivory took 2 in on the ground for a 14-0 lead. Falcons came back to cut it to 14-7. And since that time, Green Bay has scored twice on bombs of 80 and 57 yards to James Lofton. 28-7, that's where we are right now. 15 minutes left to go in regulation. Dickey. Incomplete to Paul Kaufman, the tight end, and the flag is dropped. It'll be pass interference against Atlanta.
Tom Pridemore was all over Kaufman before the ball got there. It was a soft pass. He jumped on him, grabbed him too early.
There is Pridemore, number 27. Falcons secondary extremely frustrated. Lynn Dickey's been getting the time to throw.
And remember at the top of the show, Bart Starr told us.
Number 27, defense, first down.
Bart Starr told us it's imperative that we get time for Dickey to throw the ball. And watch it here. Pridemore just jumps him very early. The call was obvious. And take a look. There he goes. He's on his back with that other hand. No chance for Kaufman to catch the ball.
So the line of scrimmage now, the 9-yard line of the Falcons. They trail by 21. Look at that. Ivory and Ellis have teamed for over 121 yards. William Andrews has been pretty much negated by that Packer defense. Del Rogers, touchdown Green Bay.
And Jim, you think Bart isn't happy? This is a pivotal game for him. This is playoff time, and they haven't been there yet. They don't know what it's like. And he talked about that, some of the other teams that do know what it's like. He says his Packers have to learn what it's like. Watch Rogers, good cut. And they're running the ball well against Atlanta. A shocker because...
And they're doing it to the right side with Leotis Harris and Greg Cook, the big guard and tackle respectively out of Arkansas. Rogers, his first rushing touchdown, running right away from Pridemore that time. Rogers, a free agent out of Utah. And you can see one of the first Packers over there to congratulate him, John Jefferson. Jan Stenerud, his 5th point after try. He's been perfect all afternoon. With a record of 4-2-1 on the verge of clinching a playoff spot, the Atlanta Falcons, anticipating a letdown after clinching one week ago, are trailing by 28 points, 35-7. You look at Jan Stenerud as he's about to tee it up from the 35. Reggie Brown is back deep for the Atlanta Falcons. With the exception of our Atlanta and Green Bay audience, we will be sending many of you to St. Louis, where the Cardinals, with a record of 4-3, are hosting the Giants with a record of 3-4. Right after this kickoff, a squib kick, which is mishandled by the Falcons. It is 17-7. The Cardinals on top over the Giants. St. Louis is 4-3. The New York Giants are 3-4. So they are both battling for playoff spots. The Falcons on the verge of clinching. The Falcons are already in. So we say so long from Atlanta, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the Cardinals-New York Giants game right here on CBS Sports. .43 left in regulation. You see the Green Bay Packers scoring drive. Del Rogers, a 9-yard touchdown scamper. Falcons trying desperately to get back into the football game. They remain with Steve Bartkowski at quarterback. And this one is picked off by the Green Bay Packers. John Anderson out of Michigan. 1st and 10. Green Bay at the 29-yard line of Atlanta. William Andrews made the tackle. Steve Bartkowski picked off. Has just thrown his 10th interception on the season.
And Bart Starr is a happy man. Obviously, when you have to throw the ball, it's a lot more difficult. That time, Bartkowski was looking for a receiver over the middle. Anderson jumped in front, made an easy interception. Watch it here again. Bartkowski, they're playing zone defense. He's looking for a receiver over the middle. Linebacker jumps in front, probably never saw him. And William Andrews makes the tackle. Fights off. Look at that. William Andrews, a complete football player, evens tackles.
So we've got 14:35 left to go. The Packers have the football. They have a commanding 28-point lead. We'll return to Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium after this word from your local station. They have a 28-point lead in great field position at the 30-yard line. Gary Ellis, Eddie Lee Ivory in the running backs. The tail of the tandem is Eddie Lee Ivory. That's John Jefferson in motion to the near side. And that straight ahead is Gary Ellis in his third year, a free agent out of Missouri, for a pickup of maybe 2 yards on the play. Let's check in and see how San Francisco is doing against Kansas City. From New York, here's Brent.
The 49ers have taken the lead, Jim, on this touchdown. It is Jeff Moore from a yard out, and now in the fourth quarter, 16-10 49ers, but the Chiefs are on the move. They've just intercepted a pass. Let's go back to Jim Kelly.
Thank you, Brent Musburger. The Kansas City Chiefs with a record of 2-5. Thank you, Brent. And the 49ers are 2-5 as well. That's Jefferson in motion to the top of the screen. Lynn Dickey out to J.J., who is chopped down behind the line of scrimmage. There's that swarming defense, but John said that's okay. That's all right. Don't worry about a thing. Just check the scoreboard, guys. Late hits now don't mean anything to us.
Well, it gives you an idea of what the Atlanta defense is about. They're swarming. Now look at number 47. That was Mike Spivey. Made some hit on John Jefferson. And interesting, Jerry Glanville told me about his defense, its aggressiveness. If you play for us, you can't play forever. As you look at the Atlanta bench, kind of depressed at the moment. Lehman Bennett trudging the sidelines.
Let's check the Packers' receptions, but I believe that's the third catch by John Jefferson. Lofton has 4, 2 of them for touchdowns. There you see the graphic as far as the rushing is concerned. John Jefferson in motion to the top of the screen. Lofton wide to the left. Dickey fires over the middle. Got Kaufman, the tight end. And the big tight end rambles from Kansas State all the way down to the 20-yard line, and that should be a first down for the Green Bay Packers. Robert Jackson came up from Texas A&M and made the tackle against Paul Kaufman, and now you see the new quarterback, David Whitehurst, number 17, in his 6th year out of Furman, an 8th-round draft pick back in 1977. So we'll close the book on Lynn Dickey apparently for the afternoon. Whitehurst comes in, 16 completions in 41 attempts, 277 yards, a 38% completion ratio, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. We've got 12:30.
2 touchdowns, 2 long bombs from James Lofton.
4th down, less than a yard to go for a first down. Whitehurst, the quarterback. It looked like Atlanta might have dropped offside. And Whitehurst on the delay gets it off. Everybody was fooled on the play. He faked into the line. Whitehurst with a nice tuck behind the back fired it over to John Thompson, the 4-year tight end out of Utah State. And let's check the flag over on the far side. But the Falcons, it looked like there was some motion on the inside. Watch right there, right between the guard and the tackle. Great camera work. And we pick it up. Whitehurst firing over to Johnson, or to Thompson rather. And they'll pick up the first down. Interesting to see the rushing yardage and the passing yardage as far as Green Bay today, and the balanced attack that they have thrown at this man's defensive unit right there, Lehman Bennett.
Offside, defensive, middle guard, first down.
And it's a defense that's been only giving up 104 yards against the rush. Already Green Bay has 130 yards rushing.
12:26 left to go. Jim Jensen in his 6th year out of Iowa, a free agent in the backfield now, number 33 for the Packers, along with Del Rogers, number 35. Lofton and Jefferson remain the wide receivers. Lofton to the top of your screen. And a long count by Whitehurst. He might have used up too much time. This is the 13th renewal of the rivalry between the Falcons and the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay has won 7 games, and Atlanta's won 5. Atlanta has won the last 2.
Encroachment, number 63, defense, first down.
Talking to some of the Packers last night, Mike McCoy and Johnny Gray and some of the rest of them, we asked them if it was important if they got up on top to beat the Falcons and beat them badly, thinking that maybe when they get into the playoffs they might meet this team again. They said no, not really. It'll be a whole different ball game. Gary Ellis. And again, they run the blocking over on the right side behind Leotis Harris and Greg Cook.
But I think along that line, Jim, it's all important for teams to develop momentum going into the playoffs. We talked about it at the top of the show. Atlanta had it. They had won 4 of their last 5. They had won 3 in a row. Their defense was hot. But today, Green Bay has taken the intensity away from them. And right now, they're playing good ball, and they're going to assure themselves a playoff for the first time in over a decade. As I said, a sweet, sweet feeling for Green Bay and Bart Starr.
We're going to have to get the record book out to see the last time that the Falcons lost by maybe 35 points or more. Right now they are behind by 28, and Green Bay knocking at the Atlanta door once again. Slot formation to the left side. David Whitehurst wants to throw for one, and he does, but it's dropped at the last second over in the left corner of the end zone by number 83, John Jefferson. Had it with one hand and couldn't quite hang on.
Look at him smiling. He's showing us what he did. He had that hand up, almost pulled it back in for the touchdown, couldn't hold on to it.
Johnny came in with 23 receptions, 422 yards, averaging 18 yards per catch, his longest for 50 yards, and he has yet to score a touchdown. You see, he tried to grab it with the right hand, reminiscent of that great grab a week ago by Terry LeCounte for the Minnesota Vikings. Almost the same kind of a pattern. He said he's not worried about the fact he hasn't scored a touchdown at all. It's a team effort. He has team goals in mind. Whitehurst incomplete in the end zone to the big tight end, Paul Kaufman out of Kansas State. Kansas City Chiefs have come back now against the 49ers. Nick Lowry, a 39-yard field goal. So it's now a 16-13 ball game. Kansas City closes the gap to within 3 points.
Carl Swanke, the big offensive tackle, second-year man out of Boston College, on the sidelines, out for the afternoon, obviously. We don't have a final injury report on him.
11:31 left to go in this football game. Third down, 5 yards to go from the 5. Slot formation to the left side. JJ is in it. Whitehurst looks to the tight end. It's batted up in the air. Whitehurst gets it back and actually became the defender that time. As big number 77 was in there, Doug Rogers, the rookie out of Stanford, a number 2 draft pick by the Falcons. He was the man that was putting pressure on Whitehurst, and Neil Musser was the man who deflected the football and almost came up with the interception.
Look, it's like a basketball player. If you have your shot blocked, you go up again. Here, Whitehurst throws the ball. It's batted back at him. Tries to go up and get it again. Who knows what he would have done with it.
So it'll be field goal time. The first time that Stenerud has tried a field goal, he's had 5-point afters and has been perfect. And this is the mirrored chip shot from the former veteran. In '81, Stenerud setting an NFL field goal accuracy record, hitting on 22 of 24, 91.67%. This will be spotted at the 13, plus the 10 of the end zone will be 23. And Stenerud is perfect.
Let's take another look at that kick.
There's Gary Ellis, who's getting some kicking advice. You think they'll work him? Here he is.
Does he have the square toe on? He shanks it off to the right side. Left side. Look at, he's even smiling.
Gary, so that's all right. I'm supposed to be a running back.
I don't get paid to kick the ball. Look at him changing his shoe.
So Stenerud, third now on the all-time scoring list with 1,402 points.
He does have the kicking shoe. Look at the square toe. He was serious about that kick.
Didn't do him any good. Stenerud from the 30. High kick that Reggie Brown will field at the 13-yard line. The wall in front is chopped down very quickly, and down he goes in the grasp of number 53 or number 56, Cliff Lewis. 34 made the tackle secure for the Green Bay Packers. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Falcons, and they're going to finally change quarterbacks. But now we've got to check the flag, and this will be against Atlanta. Actually, John, I wondered why Lehman Bennett didn't go to his backup quarterback on the previous series. Why even leave Steve Bartkowski in there to throw that interception? You were already down by a 28-point margin, and right now you're down even worse.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 33 on the return. First down.
It's a 31-point Atlanta deficit right now, and you can see what's going on as far as the Cardinals and the Giants are concerned. And you can see the sporadic fans, which are still here now. Tampa Bay late in the 4th quarter. Pittsburgh big over New England. We'll be checking all those scores with Brent Musburger and the NFL Today folks throughout the rest of this telecast. Mike Morawski fires out of the backfield to number 31, William Andrews.
You have to wonder why they have Andrews in there also. Of course, he's their big gun, who's been carrying this offense, came into the game as a total yardage leader in the NFL. You think they might give Bo Robinson a shot? Of course, Lehman Bennett high on him, Jim.
Well, that's right. We talked with him yesterday at the Falcon complex, and he was so excited his eyes actually came alive, giving us the impression, although he didn't say it, that he's as excited about Bo Robinson as he's been about a back for a long, long time. Of course, you just don't sit down to William Andrews. Out of the backfield, Gerald Riggs. Riggs up near the 34, tackle secured by the Packers. This telecast, presented by authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Atlanta Falcons and the National Football League is prohibited. The reason I was surprised that Lehman Bennett didn't go to back up Mike Morawski a little bit quicker, why risk the injury of Steve Bartkowski when you've got the playoffs coming up?
No doubt about it. I mean, this game is gone for all intents and purposes for Atlanta. They have to regroup in New Orleans next week and get ready for the playoffs.
Bo Robinson is in there now. Over the middle, Riggs has it, and he's got a first down for the Falcons up near the 43-yard line. First-round draft pick out of Arizona State, who's had a big afternoon. George Cumby in there in the tackle for the Green Bay Packers, number 52. There are the Falcons as far as home and away is concerned so far this year. And you can see they're much more effective on the road than they've been here at Fulton County Stadium.
So maybe the home field advantage in the playoffs isn't that important to them since they do play so well on the road.
Well, they've got a tough game to close it out with next week against the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. Billy White Shoes Johnson now moves into a slot on the right side. First and 10 from the 43. Packer defense is collapsing and giving him a long pass and allowing him to throw underneath, and that is Gerald Riggs, who had 5 receptions for touchdowns coming in, and he's having a pretty good afternoon despite the fact that the rest of the Falcons are not. Don't forget, this is doubleheader day here on CBS, and after the conclusion of the Packers and the Falcons, you'll see either the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are in the playoffs. The Eagles in the role of spoiler. The Redskins are in the playoffs. They've got a tough game against Bum Phillips in the Superdome, and the Saints and the Chicago market, WBBM TV, will see the Bears on the road against Ray Malavasi's Los Angeles Rams. Rams, of course, are 1-6. Walter Payton, Chicago Bears, first-year coach Mike Ditka are 2-5. Now the Falcons take a timeout. They see here a 9-yard carry around the right side, and he will have a game ball. I would think, John, if you're Bart Starr, you'd be giving game balls to your offensive line, however, allowing Lynn Dickey ample time to throw. We'll embellish that in just a second. Right now, the Falcons trying to play catch-up, and it's complete over to the near sideline to Billy White Shoes Johnson. There's Kuykendall, one of the swarming members of the Atlanta Falcon defense. You know, in talking with Bart Starr last night about Lynn Dickey, he said, here is a true overall sound quarterback. Here's a replay on the White Shoes catch. But talking about Lynn Dickey, he's very sound. He is street smart. He's got the good arm. The bad rap is his inability to scramble. He said that's not true. Lynn Dickey can scramble when he has to.
Well, excuse me, Jim. He's had so many injuries over the year. When you think about a quarterback who's been in the league for that long, Lynn Dickey, 12 years, and his first full season of play was 1980, you realize what kind of injuries Lynn Dickey has had. I mean, the rap was that he held the ball too long. Today, he got rid of it in a hurry. Was only sacked 1 time.
Bart said that a quarterback must play aggressive football, much in the manner of a linebacker. Much in the manner, I would think, as a Bart Starr. In the face of an awesome pass rush by number 23 for the Green Bay Packers, that is Maurice Harvey, 4th year out of Ball State. Morawski had to dump the ball out, nothing doing. What will the Falcons do this year, the fickle Falcons?
Boy, don't they alternate. Look, 1978, they were 9-7. Then 79, 6-10. 80, they're the best in the NFC, certainly. They lose to Dallas in that playoff 30-27. The following year, they're 7-9. This year, they're having a 5-2 coming in, but yet today they laid an egg against the Green Bay Packers. So it's kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde Falcon franchise, as well as a team this year.
Really not an unexpected egg, even for the coach Lehman Bennett. He was very worried yesterday. Chased out of the pocket, and down he goes again. John Anderson, who's got 1 interception and 1 sack so far this afternoon, came up with a hit. Ezra Johnson, 6 years out of Morris Brown, 6'4", 240. That's got to be the program weight because he weighs a lot more than 240. the book on Steve Bartkowski so far this afternoon.
What can you say? Exactly. Shrug your shoulders. What can you say when you're being beaten like this?
Here's a man who's turned his life around from the wild and woolly bachelor days that he enjoyed. He got married, settled down, wants to work with kids and maybe the ministry in later life.
That's kind of a change from the days he was growing up. It was interesting when we talked. He said as he was growing up, Bart Starr was his hero as a quarterback. Of course, he saw a lot of the Packer games. And after that, as he changed and found out there was more in the world out there, Joe Willie Namath was his idol. And now Bartkowski has gone from that kind of wild man bomber type of quarterback to one that is just willing to do what's necessary for the system as long as the Atlanta Falcons continue to win.
John Dockery, who played with Joe Namath on that Super Bowl New York Jet team back in 1969. 7:03, 7:02, 7:01 left to go in regulation. Phil Epps, number 85, back anticipating the George Roberts punt. Shanked it off the left side, gets a lot of height on it. Epps fields cleanly at the 17 to the 20, and down he goes in a grasp for Falcons after he got near the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Green Bay. They lead by a bunch. Jim Laughlin in there on the tackle. 38-7. Green Bay headed for the playoffs. Of course, the Falcons have already clinched. Green Bay closes out against Detroit. The Saints play host to Atlanta.
Only one truck can be America's lowest price truck. It's Mazda's B2000 Sundowner, and that $57.95 price includes standard features Datsun and Toyota don't even offer on their economy trucks, like a 5-speed, steel-belted radials, tinted glass, full carpeting, and Mazda B2000 Sundowner even gets better gas mileage.
Only Mazda's got a truck for just $57.95.
Tuesday night on CBS Sports, Denny Crum returns to Pauley Pavilion as he leads Louisville against UCLA. Top 10 action Tuesday night on the home of the NCAA Championship, CBS Sports.
We've got great college basketball action coming your way right here on CBS Sports. UCLA and Louisville, they've not played since the NCAA championship game back in 1980, which Louisville won by a score of 59-54. It'll be a rematch. Louisville coach Denny Crum returning to his alma mater for the first time as the head coach. And there you see the graphic on the Green Bay Packers. They're into the playoffs for the first time since 1972. Slot formation, now they measure. Man in motion to the near side. Number 85, that's Phil Epps. Whitehurst hands off to Del Rogers. Maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. Falcon defense still hitting, even though the scoreboard reads 38-7. Ray Wersching has added a field goal for the 49ers, his 4th of the day from 33 yards out, and the 49ers with a record of 2-5 take a 19-13 lead over the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 2-5 as well. Some think that Marv Levy might be in a bit of a trouble situation out in Kansas City. Ed Biles in trouble in Houston. Ray Malavasi likewise in Los Angeles.
The NFL is not the place for job longevity. And Rich Campbell, the #1 draft choice in 1981, out of Cal Berkeley, the quarterback now, number 19.
He is 6'4", 224 in his second year, and they think he's going to be a good one. Handoff. Harlan Huckabee, free agent out of Michigan. You can almost hear the hitting up here.
Neiman Bennett can't be happy with today. There was a letdown. We talked about it earlier. The intensity is gone after that defensive unit was hot for the last 3 weeks. His team was hot. Some said that they thought they had a chance against the Dallas Cowboys. Today, they wouldn't have a chance against anybody.
Well, the Falcons came in defensively, ranked 3rd in the NFC, 4th against the rush, and 5th against the pass. Conversely, Green Bay's offense was 6th in total offense, 5th rushing, 6th passing, but it's been all Green Bay. 2 big bombs to Lofton might have taken what starch there was out of Atlanta. Nothing doing on 3rd down and 11. Del Rogers again gets the call, so it'll be a punting situation for the Green Bay Packers. And Lehman Bennett will have to worry about getting this Falcon team back up for the season finale down in New Orleans. That's by no means an easy football game. Bum Phillips has the New Orleans Saints flying around on defense. Very misleading game last week against the Dallas Cowboys.
And of course he has that weapon at running back, George Rogers.
Count the guy, count the guy.
Stakowitz has had an easy day. He only punted one time. Nice afternoon for a punter.
And that was in the first quarter on the Packers' second position. Billy White Shoes Johnson is back deep. You look from the end zone. 4:26 left to go. Atlanta's got it. They blew right through there as if there wasn't even an offensive line. 4 Falcons were on top of it, and it looked like Bo Robinson, number 33, was the first man to get through.
You can't go home before the game is over. Obviously, Green Bay has this game in the bag, but they didn't protect their punter here, and Atlanta's swarming defense came in. He had no chance. It's a low snapper. Watch. He drops the ball, but if he didn't drop it, it would have been just blocked right into his face anyhow. Atlanta comes up with the fumble.
Kenny Johnson, 37, the man on top of the pigskin, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Update now on that Cleveland-Houston score. The Browns, a 1-yard touchdown run by Charles White out of USC, have taken a 20-14 lead over the Oilers. Houston 1-6, Cleveland 3-4.
Cleveland's still in the running.
That's right,
it's interesting.
exactly right.
And they played Pittsburgh in their last game. They beat Pittsburgh last week, so Cleveland's still in the race.
Slot formation to the right side. Little flare pass in and out of the arms of Gerald Riggs over in the right flat. Bill Capice, a 26-yard field goal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 29 seconds left to go. Tampa Bay has taken a 23-21 lead against the Detroit Lions. So Tampa Bay 3-4, Detroit 3-4, and Tampa Bay clinging to a 2-point lead. Of course, the Lions with Eddie Murray in the field goal department, if they can work it down, they've got 29 seconds with which to work. Eddie Murray's range is about 40 to 45 yards out. Monty Clark, a very inconsistent year.
Number 67, offense.
Motion against the Falcons will back it up to the 14-yard line.
Some interesting possibilities if the Packers win today, and they do have a playoff, and they do win next week, and get the home field. Who in the world would want to go to Green Bay in January to play a playoff game? Oh. Get your overcoat on, Jim. You were there in Cincinnati, San Diego last year.
Incomplete. Down in the right corner of the end zone. Looking for number 82, simply on a post pattern, Stacey Bailey, the rookie out of San Jose State. Around the NFL today, Scott Bruner to John Missler from 13 yards out. Giants are battling back. They trail the Cardinals by a field goal. Tampa Bay, we told you, 29 seconds left to go, leads by 2. Pittsburgh up big against the Patriots. Cincinnati increasing their lead now to 14 points. Kansas City trying to come back against the 49ers. Chiefs trail it by 6. All the scores and highlights around the NFL today with Brent Musburger later today right here on CBS. 38-7, Falcons on the short end, trying to get into the end zone. Junior Miller with a reception inside the 10-yard line, down at about the 9-yard line. Check it, that's Keith Trefley, number 88. Out of Iowa State, a free agent traded by the Philadelphia Eagles. You take a look as if you're the right cornerback for the Green Bay Packers.
And it's interesting that you should say Junior Miller, because Miller hasn't caught a pass all afternoon. He's obviously not playing now. Trefley, of course, we may remember from the Philadelphia Eagles, played so well for them for so many years, backing up Junior Miller this afternoon.
Browns on top over Houston late in that game. Cleveland still alive as a playoff possibility with a record of 3-4. Oilers are just playing out the string and waiting to see who will be named as the new head coach. And if they can revamp and reawaken Earl Campbell, who didn't have much of an offensive line. Sack as Mike Morosky is sacked behind the line of scrimmage by Maurice Harvey, free agent out of Ball State. He has played some kind of a football game. And we've got our first final in from around the NFL today. We have 3:11 left to go in this football game. Steelers on top over the Patriots. So Pittsburgh now goes to 5-3, and the Patriots fall to 4-4. Of course, Raiders lead the AFC. They're 6-1. Cincinnati 5-2. The Dolphins 5-2 with the Jets and the Chargers, and Buffalo's 4-3. Falcons will go for it. They've got to get it all the way down in the end zone. Complete, but way shy of where they had to go to Billy White Shoes Johnson at the 13-yard line, so the Packers offense will trot back out on the field. Ezra Johnson with all kinds of pressure that time, the 6-year right defensive end from Morris Brown, former first-round draft pick from '77. Steelers 37, New England 14. That's the final score. And a final now from Tampa Bay. Bill Capice's 26-yard field goal turns out to be the difference. The Bucs win it by 2 against the Detroit Lions. So Tampa Bay now goes to 4-4, and Detroit, they'll fall down to 3-5. And of course, the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan next week. Campbell in there at quarterback. #1 draft pick out of California. Inside handoff to Harlan Huckabee out of Michigan. Not much doing over the right side. So the playoff picture is starting to take at least more shape. The top 8 teams in the AFC, the top 8 in the NFC will qualify. Coming into this game, the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Falcons had clinched. Dallas is 6-1. Washington is 6-1, and Atlanta, well.
In pro football history, the Juice rushes for over 100 yards 11 times and gains an NFL record 2,003 yards on his way to being named the league's most valuable player.
27-19. They overwhelmed the Rams 35-23. And right here this afternoon, I think they're peaking at the right time. You know, talking with Bart Starr and his coaching staff late last night, we suggested, well, listen, if you're going to have a slump, why not have it in the middle and finish up strong? And they said, you're absolutely right. But the main thing that Bart was concerned about was clinching that playoff spot and getting Green Bay into the playoffs.
And especially satisfying for Bart Starr, because you remember last year that final game against the Jets when they finished 8-8 on the season, but they lost in Shea Stadium. They got knocked out of the playoffs. A few years back in 1978, they were 8-7-1, but because of the tie-breaking system, it was the Minnesota Vikings. So this is especially good for Bart Starr this afternoon, the first time one of his teams will get into the playoffs, and we both know the heat that he was taking over the last few years in Green Bay.
Well, I think also the new offensive coordinator has made a tremendous difference. And in talking with Lofton and Jefferson and some of the other Packers last night, they would still like to see a little bit more wide open, even more so than we saw this afternoon. 2 big bombs to Lofton, 80 and 57 yards. Of course, that's got to thrill a wide receiver as you look at the great lineup tonight on CBS. It all starts off, it kicks off with 60 Minutes, followed by Archie Bunker's Place, one of the new smashes of the season, Gloria, starring, of course, Sally Struthers. And then the Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, and Trapper John, M.D. But we're talking about opening up the offense a little bit. They would like to see the Packers throw much more on first down. That's the key to any football game, controlling first down.
I think they will. I mean, both Jefferson and Lofton said that. They said they may be a year away from being a more sophisticated type of offense. You can't do it overnight. But, of course, Jefferson played with one of the most sophisticated.
Down, 1 yard to go for the Packers. They're in control of this football game. Penalty flag on the play. Packers have the first down. Harlan Huckabee rambles around the right side, but let's check the flag. Atlanta might have jumped off sides. Atlanta has hurt themselves in this football game. Indeed, they've hurt themselves all year with some costly penalties.
And you mentioned it, Jim. I mean, that's the 16th time that Atlanta's been penalized. As you listen, 153 yards in penalties.
Encroachment, defense, decline, first down.
So the Packers will take the first down. They've got 1:35 left to go before trotting into the locker room with a very impressive 38-7 victory. And impressive in view of what the Falcons had done the last 2 games. They shut out the New Orleans Saints 35-0, and they held the defending Super Bowl champion 49ers to just 7 points. Atlanta scored 17. Motion to the near side. Jim Jensen in the backfield. Jensen gets the call. He bowls his way maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Free agent out of Iowa in his 6th year. And all that remains is for the clock to wind down.
Snelker and Dickey along the sidelines. Obviously, Lynn Dickey has been ridiculed at times during his career. This could be the time that he makes up for all of that. Proves that he is a good quarterback, as we know he is, and takes his team to the playoffs, and who knows how far they can go. If they hit their stride, as you said, they have weapons. Gary Ellis, Eddie Lee Ivory, James Lofton, John Jefferson, Kaufman, all good weapons as you look at the NFL today. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Will the Eagles be the spoilers? We'll find out after this game.
Our audience, of course, will see the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, one of the big rivalries. Exploding over the right side is Del Rogers. And there is William Andrews, who, of course, will regroup with the rest of the Atlanta Falcons. And you see kind of dismal stats for William Andrews. 11 rushes for 41 yards, so less than 4 yards a carry. And he came in as the leading ground gainer, the leading pass catcher for the Falcons, averaging about 4 yards a carry.
And the total yardage leader in the NFL, Marcus Allen and Billy Sims, were behind him. So it's a tough day for William Andrews, but you know he'll be back. He's a man that prides himself in consistency. Fourth quarter score.
Ronnie Lott, 78-yard interception and a touchdown return, and it's 26-13. The 49ers rebounding against the Chiefs.